welcome to The Lady Killers, a Feminine Rage podcast. Hello, and welcome to The Lady Killers, a Feminine Rage podcast. I am your host, Jennifer's Body Adams, and let me just adjust my slutty little glasses and get my tape recorder ready. I've been watching three women in a dark alley. I hope they weren't actually watching me too and allowing me to think I'm the hunter when I'm actually the prey, and I certainly hope they don't turn out to be vampires, because we are watching Neil Jordan's Interview with the Vampire today, continuing Gothic Romance Month. And I couldn't be more excited to talk about this particular lady killer and a couple of hot vamps too. But I'm not alone. I'm joined by a fabulous panel of lady killer experts. Shelby, say hello and tell us, Brad Pitt or Tom Cruise, or Christian Slater or Antonio Banderas?
Hello, I'm Shelby Novak, and this is such a difficult question to answer. I'm going to go
Right?
I'm going to go with Antonio Banderas because overall, he is mine for most movies. Never Tom Cruise, but as Lestat, this is the only movie where I will pick Tom Cruise. So, yeah, something about it. So, yes, I always pick multiple dudes. That
It's hard.
Says a lot
It's always
about
hard.
I
It's
mean,
hard.
why can't we have more?
Why
You know,
not
more
both?
is more.
right? Why not both?
Yeah, I think he's got that big vamp energy in this movie. That
He's
I
so
do
arrogant.
really
It
enjoy.
works for
Yeah.
him. Like, he was so good at being arrogant because I
believe
think
it.
he is. So
Yeah.
Right. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. It just works really well. And also,
Exactly.
listeners, I don't mean to be super heteronormative here. If Kirsten Dunst were an adult when this movie was filmed, I would have
Honestly,
added her.
be in
I
it.
had that same thought. I thought the thought as I was reading these notes, and I was like, okay, never mind. I see.
And then I was
I
like,
remembered.
"There's a child." and
I
just-
cycled through it real quick. So yes, yes.
Well, you just heard her voice, and if you're watching, you saw her face. Sammy, say hello and tell us, Brad Pitt or Tom Cruise or Christian Slater or Antonio Banderas?
This is Sammy. I assume I need no introduction, Rothman. And I wasn't sure if you meant like one I would want to fuck or like one whose work I enjoy watching the most.
I mean, I
always
think
assume
interpret
the
it's-
former.
Yes.
Well, yeah. When
And-
it's me asking, it's usually
Yes, but I would want to say Antonio Banderas because I believe he's like the least problematic of them all. And of course is everyone's favorite orange tabby cat, Puss in Boots, who
course.
I actually have right
Oh my God,
here.
he's here with us
Who's
today.
that?
He
Hello,
is,
Antonio.
and he also, if I can get him to do it, wait. Did you hear him?
I heard
Did
it,
you hear him?
yes.
Yeah. He also
Oh.
smells like cotton candy. He's
Oh.
a limited edition Build-A-Bear, so
Ooh,
yeah,
love
really
him.
big moment for me.
Dude.
But
Last
having
Wish is
said
good.
that, yes, the Last Wish is really good. I think we could even, you know what, we could cover it because
Goldie
yeah,
is
the
a lady
cat,
kill-
the
yeah.
the other cat.
Oh, and
voiced
Kitty
by-
Softpaws?
Yeah, Kitty Softpaws. Yeah,
I have
from,
no idea what you're talking
Me either.
Puss in Boots from Shrek. Shrek 2?
Well, no, I know
Shrek
him
2
from
fame?
I I don't
Okay,
know the
Puss in
other one you guys
Boots
are
3.
talking about, though.
You've never
That's
seen
like the
Shrek
newer
2,
one.
Rachel?
No,
I've never
no.
seen a Shrek ever.
What? Oh my God! Shrek 2 is one of my favorite animated movies of all time, and the first Shrek. The soundtrack is so good. The fairy godmother stuff. It's the American Idol scene at the end. Oh my gosh!
Is
it's
Smash
so
Mouth in
good.
that one? Is
During
that the
Claire.
Smash
first
Mouth
one?
is in the first one.
In
Yeah,
that one?
they aren't in it, but they do
They're not
feature
characters?
on the
Is
soundtrack.
the Smash Mouth in that one?
But
Yes, Granny, the Smash Mouth is.
Puss in Boots comes in the second one, and then he gets his own spin-off movie, Puss in Boots, and then Puss in Boots 2, The Last Wish, starring
See,
Antonio
I've seen
Banderas
the
and Penelope
first
Cruz.
two. I have not seen any of the spin-offs. That's where
Shrek
I'm
3
Wish is the
and
only
Shrek
one I've
4
seen,
are
and
not
it's
good.
good.
Okay, they are not good. Sorry, everyone, but Shrek 1 and 2 are cinematic masterpieces.
Hit me with the
first
hot
Puss in
takes.
Boots is not that great. Second Puss in Boots, just it was Oscar nominated, guys.
Wow.
I'm 400 years old, please.
I'm sorry. Okay, but as I was saying, so he's going to join us for the episode, of course.
I think that's only appropriate. Yeah.
I thought so as well. Thank you. But in my heart of hearts, as far as like movies go that I love, I have to go Tom Cruise. I love my movies, love my popcorn. And in the 90s, I just feel like he had banger after banger. You had like Magnolia, The Firm, Eyes Wide Shut, A Few Good Men, Jerry Maguire, Mission Impossible. Like my boy was just turning amazing role off of amazing role. Like it was, despite being Scientology's like poster boy, I can't help, I crave the cruise. I can't help
understand.
it.
I understand.
Can't.
He's problematic, but like I have a friend and I who we're just like, that's TC. That's our boy TC.
Yes.
We'll watch him in anything. He's good at what he
shows up
does.
For the movies.
He saved the movies.
The way he
runs. He
He
flew to space to save movies for us.
He risked his life for us. He runs like a majestic angel. Like I just love him. I even love Edge of Tomorrow. Like I love even
I love
the
Edge of
movie.
Tomorrow too.
That movie
Yeah.
rules. Okay, I'm big fan. Not super big fan of him as a person. Just
I just
like
need
being
him on
in a
my
cult
screen.
is rough. Like
Yeah.
but I think he's a really great actor. Mike and I have even liked it because Mike loves Tom Cruise. Like that's his man. And
Don't
we've
say
even
that in front of
discussed
Clint.
like.
Clint is right behind you.
I know
That's
he's
true.
behind me, and we have a shrine in the corner to him right here. I look at him every day. I got married on his ranch, but he does love Tom Cruise, and we've even discussed starting a cruise cast, like a Tom Cruise movie. Podcast where we go through his work.
I call A Few Good Men.
Oh, I love that we're already calling for this fictional podcast.
I think I would like to reserve
I know,
as well.
exactly.
Yeah, a
One of
few
these
spots.
days, it'll be another spin-off series. But I did want to give us a few additional factoids concerning the behind the scenes that also influenced my decision here. During the making of this film, he was the only person that read the Vampire Chronicles series, of all of the actors.
The
director,
entire thing? Those
too
are
lazy
fucking
to read
long.
them. It said that's what IMDb
That's
said.
crazy
so
too because
take it up with the
famously,
International
he
Movie
has-
Database.
He's dyslexic too, so that's like not an
Another
easy
feat.
thing for him to
A feat.
do. Yeah,
I love that you knew that. That's great.
do.
Dyslexia representation.
My boy TC,
We
I'm
love
telling
it.
you.
My sister has it, so it's like we like to see it. I mean, not like in a person, but like the representation. The director evidently was this is according to the trivia, too lazy to read the book, and Brad Pitt stopped after one chapter because he thought the book was stupid. So loser. I'll take your hat off. You can be fine. And he likes to take his hat off. He likes his ears to be nice and fresh. And then during filming, tensions developed between Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt over the latter's alleged poor personal hygiene. According to Cruise, his co-star didn't use any deodorant, and the resulting body odor became noticeable. So Brad Pitt, he fucking smells. He smells.
I remember hearing that in the 90s.
I can't do it. I honestly do remember because him and Gwyneth Paltrow are like the goop. Like it's very crunchy. We don't put like chemicals on us. But I'm here to say we're breathing in chemicals on a daily basis. The least you can do is not smell like shit every day. Please
I don't need it to be your armpit chemicals.
Please.
Yeah, I remember it being a part of that like too hot to bathe kind of thing.
Yeah, and
like if I'm
Ashton
hot enough,
Kutcher and
I
Mila
can be as gross
Kunis
as I
don't
want.
like bathe their kids after a long time. I mean, that's just one of the many things that they do wrong. But that's my answer.
I love it. I love how thoroughly you thought through
Thanks.
this. Also,
I really
'cause
did.
This is an important decision.
It really was
It
one of
really
the
is.
most important ones I'll probably ever make. So.
I know. Yeah, we're here to give you the important news,
Thanks.
listeners. Well, Rachel, say hello and tell us: Brad Pitt or Tom Cruise, Christian Slater or Antonio Banderas?
Hi, it's Rachel Reeves. And, I've got a lot to think about now. I'm coming to the table with a little bit more information here. Because here's the thing. If I had to pick bodies of work, I'd probably go with Brad Pitt. If I'm leaving all their personal life shit, putting that aside for the moment. I do love his work. I love Fight Club. I love Thelma and Louise, and even like Burn After Reading and
Legends of the Fall is good.
Yeah,
that's one of my first sexual awakenings. So yeah,
like I genuinely think like he is a really talented actor with some interesting
Absolutely.
range and stuff, and he's not hard to look at. Smell. That's all right. Well, I'm never in a room with him, so that's
smelling
okay.
him through the screen.
And but how I wish he would have brought a little bit of that energy to this film, but we can talk about that later. However,
I know. Yeah.
but if I had to pick like in this movie, which of these vampires or wannabe vampires would I pick? I do think I would probably go Antonio Banderas too. When he walks out on that stage in that red velvet
I know.
cloak,
Mm-hmm.
The
Sign me
luscious
up.
locks too.
sign me. Yeah, the hair.
The
Oof.
hair. So good.
It's very good. It's working for him.
That's when he got Melanie Griffith. I mean, I get it.
It
girl.
is.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was around that time he was in Evita too. That's one thing that I know him from so much is Evita, and like,
Never seen that.
oh, we might be able to cover it because she was Nazi adjacent, so
Yeah.
she's a lady killer in a
And,
wider way. So
Yeah, in
Next
real
time we
life.
do
That's a lot of
musical
killing.
month.
Yeah.
Well, I'm very excited because I'm going to pick Christian Slater. So we each
I figured.
I
get
saw that
one.
coming.
Yeah. Throw it
Yeah.
away, honestly.
Pump up that volume, baby.
Yeah.
Seriously. Oh my
Heathers?
God. Heathers.
Heathers.
Mhm.
Huge sexual awakening for me. And Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, too.
Oh,
that was,
yeah.
I think, when I really fell in love with him. And then I sought out Heathers.
You and
And
Mike
Pump the
love that
Volume
movie.
because-
I had never seen it till Mike. Those are like when I
It's
think
so
of that movie, I think of the two of you because you're the only two people I know that like go like hard for that
It's
movie.
good. And the soundtrack is so good. Like,
Mhm.
it's been reused because it's so good. But I love him. And I know, like, he replaced River Phoenix in this role. He donated his salary here. He's not in it very long, but it's just like the hot icing on the cake because this
Mhm.
movie has so many hot people in it. And then there's Christian Slater with his slutty little glasses. And I just love him. He just popped up in a movie that I'm not going to say because it's kind of a spoiler when
Ooh.
he appears. And if you know, you know. And he pissed me the fuck off because he's so good in his role. And also I wanted to marry him too and, help raise his child in the movie. So anyways.
Another fun fact, Antonio Banderas' character and Christian Slater's character in the book series are lovers eventually.
Yeah.
So
Well, I think everybody's lovers, right?
I know,
Well,
yeah.
yes,
It's
I
that
think
type
so.
of
A lot
of lover crosses.
series.
There's a lot of
But,
lovers, yeah. But that's
would have
the
paid
sequel
for that
we
scene,
need.
you know?
I know. Yeah. Yeah, I do think it's fun that we all chose a different person too. That's like we don't have to
We're
fight this time,
multifaceted.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. We contain multitudes,
Don't
yes.
we? Just
Yeah.
like Chuck.
Exactly. But we're here to talk about women or a little girl today. So let's talk about our lady killer in our first category, her story.
I am so much happier now that I'm dead. Technically missing. Soon to be presumed dead. Gone. And my lazy, lying, cheating, oblivious husband will go to prison for my murder.
This is a section where we tell the story of the film. Spoilers abound, so listen at your own risk. We open with Malloy, Christian Slater, preparing to record an interview with a mysterious man named Louis who claims to be a vampire. Louis has like 5 last names, but I didn't write them all down. It's
Thank
like
you for
Dupont
that.
de Lou de Lac de Sac or something. uh, I'm sorry. I apologize to all the Anne Rice fans who are frantically
Just
writing their
so
comments.
pissed at us.
Sorry.
Right.
By the way,
One
just
star.
to put this out, I'm a huge Anne Rice stan. I
Oh,
came to
yeah.
I have a lot to say about this movie that's going to be annoying, and I
Oh,
apologize.
no, I love it.
just
I
right
I
there for it.
also brought a lot of book differences as well, so I'm glad
So,
that I am not alone on that island. So,
Okay.
hell yeah.
So Sammy and I have our fedoras on. We're about to tip our
Yeah.
hats to tell you how
Yeah.
wrong everything is.
I have read Mayfair Witches, the Mayfair Witches first one.
Yeah, that's the
Witching
AMC
Hour?
made that a series too, just like they did
Yeah.
with this
Once
one.
that
Yeah.
woman was in the ground, they were like, "Let's make them all."
Let's put 'em
do
out.
it."
Put 'em out,
Yes.
baby.
And I don't recommend it. It's very long. And,
It's Alexandria Daddario, isn't it?
It is.
And
yeah.
she's
the
not
show-
that great.
It's
I'm
okay.
sorry.
It's like a
She's
5 out
so
of 10.
pretty, but
beautiful
so
to look
pretty.
at, but really rough in
But-
most of her movies.
I know. Yeah.
Wait,
it's
what's
just-
the line? The cuz?
Do your thing,
Do
cuz.
your
I
thing.
was like, get him, cuz. No, that's not it.
Yeah,
Do your thing, cuz.
is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, your belt is falling down, puss.
Oh no, puss.
Puss, come on, get it together.
You're going to get us.
I know.
Get us back.
Not safe for work.
Oh no, the listeners can see us now. Okay, so after convincing Malloy that he's telling the truth, Louis remembers his life in New Orleans and the night he was bit by a vampire named Lestat. Though Lestat enjoys hunting humans, Louis is hesitant to drink human blood. They're driven from Louis's plantation and forced to hide in a cemetery crypt. Louis finally breaks and feeds on a destitute little girl whose mother has just died from cholera, or some kind of plague. Lestat arrives and saves Claudia by turning her into a vampire, and the three form a family. But as the years wear on, Claudia realizes that her body will never grow old. Enraged, she convinces Louis to help her kill Lestat, and they sail to Europe, hoping to find others like them. After a long search, they are finally found by a vampire named Armand and his family of dramatic performers. Louis and Armand form a close bond, and Louis is smitten, but Armand warns him that it's actually forbidden to make a vampire as young as Claudia. Also, the only unforgivable sin in the vampire world is killing another vampire. Oops. Why would he bring that up? Because Armand can read Louis' mind and knows Claudia killed Lestat, whom he met a long time ago, and kind of agrees that he was a dick. Convinced that Louis is preparing to leave her, Claudia convinces Louis to make her a companion, and he turns a woman named Madeline, whose own daughter recently died. But no sooner has he turned Madeline than Armand's vampire friends show up. They bury Louis in a walled-up coffin and trap Claudia and Madeline in a dry well to wait for the sun. Armand allows them to kill Claudia, but helps Louis escape. Enraged, he returns and sets fire to the theater, killing them all. Armand asks Louis to stay, but he refuses, knowing that Armand allowed Claudia to be killed so that he could have Louis all to himself. Louis returns to America, where he waits out the years. Eventually, he reunites with Lestat, who is not dead after all. Eventually, he reunites with Lestat, who did not die, and is now
Tiny Lestat.
Yeah, Tiny Lestat, yes. He's now a swampy monster who's been feeding on rats.
Oh, yeah.
I know. As Louis finishes his story, Malloy asks to be turned into a vampire, but Louis is like, bitch, did you not understand the point of my entire story? And scares him away. But as Malloy drives away, Lestat pops out of the back seat and prepares to turn him into a vampire.
How does he know how to drive?
You know.
How does he know how to drive, you guys?
He's been around a
Tom
long
fucking
time.
Cruise. He went to space.
But he's been in the morgue, he's been in the swamp for hundreds of years.
Also, how could he not get out of the swamp? You
Yeah.
know?
Like, I just don't think he's
life in
driven
the
a
swamp is
Mustang
hard.
before.
That's some of my favorite makeup in any movie, by the way, is him at the piano looking so fucked
So
up.
good.
It's
Oh.
just so beautifully done.
I
It's
did
so
mean that they
gross
kept
and-
them, they had to, hang upside down for a bit, before, to, make the blood rush to their heads, so, they would get this, pale color, I guess, more on
Oh,
them.
shit.
Again, IMDb trivia, so take that
Yeah.
as you will.
Interesting.
But
This is some Chris Traeger stuff,
Yeah,
you know? Well, Rachel, what is your story with Interview with the Vampire?
Great question. Never read the books. I have seen this a long time ago, and I think it's because this is a movie that blurs the lines between, is it horror, is it drama? It's very mainstream. So I think I was able to see this at a decently young age, middle school. And I've seen it, I don't know, a handful of times, 5, 6 times, and love it every time. I have, my qualms with it. I don't think it's a perfect movie, but yet it's very, I don't know, it's just rich and fun to be in this world. I love the period of it all. I do like some of the performances, and it is fascinating to watch it, as you get older and just kind of see some of these characters in different ways. And also just these actors themselves, how they've aged and how this kind of contributes to their overall filmography and who they are and that kind of stuff. But it's one of those things where it always makes me want to read the books, and then I get intimidated by how many of the books there are, and I'm like, I don't know where to start.
Yeah.
I will say that. But I've always found it kind of fascinating because it's not a typical vampire story in some ways. Our, protagonist here with Louis is kind of a sad sack. It's we've kind of
So
followed
annoying.
him the whole way. And it's it's an interesting choice, I guess.
Yeah.
And also just where it fits in with the overall vampire genre. This is Twilight for moms, right? And I say that with love.
Yeah.
But it's kind of the adult version of Twilight in some ways. Also, no offense, Sammy. I don't mean that.
Oh
in a
no,
bad
you cannot offend me when it comes to Twilight. Okay, I know it is garbage.
No, but
it's my garbage. It's my garbage.
And that's the thing. This is kind of similar, where it's a little popcorny. It's it's very poppy, but I also love it. The will they, won't they? Even though it's okay, it's 1994, whatever year this is, they're not going to. But
In
just
the books
that,
they
that kind
do.
yeah, well,
The books are
exactly.
from
They
the
were
70s
cowards
too.
in the movie
Yeah.
industry. Yeah.
Yeah, but the tension, I do like it. And it's like, ooh, just kiss. Please just kiss, even though you know they never do.
Yeah. Well, Shelby, what's your story with Interview with a Vampire? And I'm going to ask if you read the book before you saw the movie. I imagine you were probably 7 when this movie came out or something like that. So I'm sure you did read the book first.
Before I saw the movie. Okay, so when I was really young, one of my cousins showed me the Guns N' Roses version of Sympathy for the Devil that plays at the end of the movie. And
It's a banger.
he was like, "Oh, this is from a movie." And he was like, because I was already in a really dark shit. He did this whole thing where he was like, listen to the song and who is he talking about? Because I don't know if you've heard, I mean, you guys have because you watched the movie, but anyone who hasn't heard Sympathy for the Devil, which was really originally by the Rolling Stones, he like doesn't say it's the devil he's talking about at first. And when it happened and when it reveals it, I was like, I need this. So where is this song from? And he's like, so there's this writer. I don't know how he like showed me Anne Rice. He hadn't even read Anne Rice, but I read the book. And you guys, I will say Claudia and I share the same birthday. And that is one thing that hooked me. Claudia, when she was turned into a vampire, was turned into a vampire on September 21st. And that's my birthday. And the reason that's her birthday is very sad. It's because that's
on my wedding anniversary. That's right.
On your wedding anniversary. Sammy, we're entangled on a universal level. I'm so sorry.
At my wedding.
It was my birthday at your wedding.
Forgot about that.
Yeah. So, see, we've all been brought together by the universe. It's not a big, it's whatever, you know, I don't have to get weird about it, but I feel weird about it. Like, I don't feel weird, but like, I do think we're all connected. Anyway, it's because she wrote the character of Claudia because she did lose a daughter. She had a real daughter she lost, and that was her birthday and so I remember just as a kid being like, me and Stephen King and Anne Rice's daughter and Claudia. And I was like, before I knew about like synchronicity, I was like, there's something here. And I was obsessed. And I read all the books that were available at the time because she was still alive and still pumping them out at the time. And so I visited her house in New Orleans. I am literally just the biggest fangirl. I have her autograph.
Wow.
I have one of her books autographed. Yes. Like I have several of her autographs in a couple books. And so that is my history with this movie.
Well, now I know what to get you for gifts going forward.
Anne Rice.
Anne Rice themed things.
It's crazy. I know. I've been a sleeper agent this whole time for Anne Rice.
Right.
But yeah. So anyway, that is all. Also, by the time she got older and moved away from New Orleans, she moved very close to my hometown in the middle of the desert, and then started writing about Lestat being in the desert. And I was like, "This is
here with
like,
you.
What's happening? We're meant to be together or something on a really creepy, like Jodie Foster level. Like, I'll kill the president for you, Anne Rice." She had a lot of problematic stuff, though. I'm not vouching for everything she said throughout her whole life. I'm just gonna put that out there. But so yeah, then I saw the movie. I had already read a couple of the books. I had already read Vampire Lestat and everything, and I was like, why aren't they having vampire sex? What's happening? Why is this I loved the movie though, because I was young enough. I was very young. So I was young enough that I was like getting to see a visual representation of the world on a screen was still very exciting for me. It was just like, they're here. Like, but I will say, even from that young age, Brad Pitt as Louis did not do it for me. I feel like everything else melted into like, I can see this in my world. Brad Pitt stood out like a sore fucking thumb. And I'm with you, Rachel, like you said earlier. I think his filmography is great. I'm a big fan of a lot of his movies. But this movie, I know that's not what you asked about. We're getting to that later,
but he hated it. Like he
didn't
tried
want
to get
do
out
it.
of the
you
role.
can tell when he's on screen. He doesn't want to be
doing
there.
any of it.
Like,
And it's so boring. Yeah, it reminds me of, this is going to sound like a dig, but it reminds me of Keanu Reeves and Bram Stoker's Dracula. Not that
totally.
he is bad.
Another
It's just
miscast,
one of
yes.
these things is not like the other. You
Totally.
know? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Sammy, what about you? What's your story with Interview with a Vampire? And have you read the book? I think you said you hadn't.
I've
right?
only read the first one.
Okay.
So, and I've never even seen Queen of the Damned. So I'm really
haven't
excited
either.
for us to eventually
We'll get
cover
there.
that. Yeah. So that'll be really fun because I'll probably, I'll end up, whenever I get like a hyperfixation, I always like have to read the books and do everything. So I'm sure once we eventually do that, I'll want to read that one too, or it's like the one that it's based on. But I've been a fan of this movie for as long as I can remember. It's just one of those things that I don't really even remember watching it for the first time type of thing. It's been that long. And it was probably the first vampire content aside from like obviously Dracula that I ever consumed. I'm obviously, as Shelby said off mic, I have a pair of ears for everything. So today I am rocking my Minnie Mouse as a vampire ears, as everyone can see.
They're so cute.
I'm vamped out today. And trust me, I have plenty of other vampire outfits for any other vampire movies we do in the future. But I just remember being really floored, even at like 10 years old when I watched this, by the two leads agreeing to do this film. It's like drenched in homoeroticism and codependency themes. And given that like both Cruise and Pitt are kind of known for their macho demeanor, I was like really jarred by that when I watched it, because I feel like the first time I ever watched it was on TV. Like it played on TV a lot on AMC, which is funny because now they have the show, which I have not watched either. And you know what? I can guarantee, because I'm about to finish my last episode of Dark, and I always have a show that I watch while I walk. I'm sure maybe that'll be the one that I put on my walking pad while I walk every day, because I've heard good things. I've not watched it, but I've heard really good things. And I read the book probably like 15 years ago. I had the copy that was red, just all red with like the black font. I really liked that one because I don't like when they have the movie cover on stuff. That's like my least favorite type of book to buy.
Oh, I love those.
But oh man, I can't stand it. Like, or if it has the Netflix sticker on it, I'm like, get this stuff off me. Get it off. Or like you can't remove it, and I'm like, no, it's
you
stuck
can't
here
remove
forever.
it. It's not even a sticker. It's just on there.
I don't want free marketing for Netflix. Okay. But as Shelby said, the book has way more of the homoeroticism, because I wouldn't even call it erotic. Like I would just call it what it is. Like it's not subtext. It's just there in the books. And their relationship is very different. But I did read that in the TV series, the subtext is overt and concrete. Like it's more like passionate.
That's what I've
evidently.
heard too. Yeah, I
so
haven't watched
that's
the show
that's
either.
nice. And throughout the episode, I'll fill us in, as I'm sure Shelby will, on some of the differences and some factoids. But these are a couple that I wanted to get out of the way because I do think they are some of them are very funny. So Tom Cruise was placed on an elevated platform during some scenes to reduce the height difference between his character and other vampires.
Booster.
He had his little booster apple box. Yes.
Short king.
And then, according to Kirsten Dunst, Tom Cruise always sends her his famous coconut cake every Christmas. It's referred to as the Cruise cake. Mike and I have had it several times. We send it to a bunch of people on Christmas. It's delicious. It was one of my. If you can get it, you can get off Goldbelly. It's one of the best cakes I've ever had. And then I did want to add that the director in 2020 was asked if he was told to pull back on the homoeroticism of the novel for the film. And he said, I mean, the movie is true to the book, I think, he goes on to say. Anne Rice
read it?
Yeah, exactly. Anne Rice wrote the script. I didn't change anything. If anything, I made it more penetrating and troubling in that regard. Cruise and Pitt played it more like master-slave, or dominance is more than four of their relationship than sexuality. But I wasn't told to take anything out of it. I wasn't told to pull back on the homoerotic elements at all. And I also read, so correct me if I'm wrong, that Anne Rice's fear that her novel was not being adapted was because she of the homosexuality of it. So she rewrote Louis as a woman, and at one point she considered Cher for the role. So I was like, that's kind of cool. I would have watched that, but it totally takes the entire story and changes it. And then my last one, which is just killed me. Anne Rice met with Tom Hanks to take the part of Lestat after seeing his performance in Philadelphia.
Oh,
and I just wrote, could you imagine Woody as Lestat?
No.
There's a steak in my boot.
She got asked to fan cast essentially her books a few times over her life, and I have to say,
Tom Hanks as Lestat.
I never agreed with it. She always had the randomest choices, and I was like, oh, girl.
Killed me. I just
casting is a skill.
Movies.
That's why
it's
we're
not
giving it
for
an Oscar
everyone.
Now,
Stick to writing, I think.
Exactly.
But that's my story.
Yeah, I know that Tom Cruise had to really fight for this, because I don't think that he was the obvious choice for this, but he is so perfect, and we'll talk about it, but it's just his charisma. It really does feel like Tom Cruise as a vampire, you know? It just so perfectly melds with his persona. I don't remember the first time I watched this. And I think that as a 14-year-old who was really into Brad Pitt and kind of into Tom Cruise, but with short hair, I was a little bit I was not into Brad Pitt's long hair because it was always stringy and gross. And I think I just was like, I didn't quite know what to make of this because it wasn't my crushes, it was, but they were doing different things. Like I think it just felt a little too adult for me at the time. And I was like, so I don't think I saw it. And I think I was kind of resistant to it because I kind of can be a hater sometimes, or Young Jen was a hater. And I don't remember the first time I watched it, but I remember that I did like it. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that was good. And then I revisited it a couple of years ago because I was writing about Claudia, and that's when I really fell in love with it. I was like, oh, this is doing so many cool things. It's such a different kind of vampire story. Like, it's a very similar story if you look at the plot beats, but just the world and like the New Orleans of it, and the homoeroticism, which is not new to the vampire world, but it's just, it feels like such a unique vampire story. And we've seen so many different vampire stories. And I love Claudia. Like, she is such a fascinating character. And there's just so much to this story. Yes. I did read the book. No, I'm sorry. I started reading the book and I got about a quarter of the way in, and then I probably had to read some Stephen King book for Losers Club and just my loan expired or something. I didn't finish it for whatever reason, not because I wasn't enjoying it, because I did read The Witching Hour, which is book 1 of the Mayfair Witches series. And I feel like I shit on that one earlier. The show is okay. It's not bad. It's not really great, but I did like the book. The book is just really long, you know?
I'm not even a big Mayfair Witches fan.
I don't think her witch stuff isn't as good as her vampire stuff.
Yeah, they start to mingle with the vampires, and it's like
Vampire Diaries.
It's like True Blood.
Yeah.
The fairies
but without
in
a Skarsgård, Like,
I liked the fairies in True Blood.
Oh,
They're
no,
stupid.
that's when I was like,
oh,
what?
Because I like fairies. So
Sucky,
I
no.
mean, it
You're
was
not
many,
fucking
many
fairies.
years ago, so who knows how I would feel now. But I remember being like, oh, cool, like otherworldly creatures.
Yeah, I love witches, and it is interesting. Like, the idea is there's, at least in the first book, is that there's like the 13th generation of this female line is like the super witch or something. I can't. It's been a while, so it's not that I wouldn't recommend it. It's just you have to really want to read, or you have to
want it,
sink into it, And I think sometimes I've been able to, and sometimes I haven't, So. But I love the world, and it is a world, and
it is a world.
It's a period piece, really.
Well, New Orleans is like one of my favorite cities in the world that I've been to. Like, I love it. I don't know. I've been there 3 or 4 times. I just happened to have like some work things or that conference every year was in New Orleans, and it's just like I think it contributes so much to this story, and it makes so much sense for vampires to be there because it's just one of those places that feels like it has history. And in America, it's like, okay, our history is nothing compared to European history, right? And but New Orleans feels like you walk those streets and it's like, oh my gosh, like this city has history.
That was the
and
only reason I tolerated my ex-in-laws was they had we would go visit them and go to New Orleans, and so I've been to New Orleans a billion times since then, and but it was like a dream of mine from reading these books because she
I'll see my mother-in-law if it means I get to go to New Orleans.
Exactly, literally, honestly, that's where I got engaged too. But anyway, and you go, and it's like she so accurately portrayed everything too. I mean, she lived there, so obviously, but you go and you're like, oh my God, this is what it is. It's like. And so you feel like you're a part of this world. It's like, this isn't a fiction. This part isn't fiction.
Yeah.
These are the streets they're on. These are the cafes he talks about. This is wild. So yeah, she's definitely an amazing world builder. That's for sure.
She also has a series of books called
The porn ones.
I'm blushing. Yes, the Sleeping Beauty books.
The Sleeping Beauty books are. I read the first one of those when I was 16 years old and should not have.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
They're too adult for most adults.
It is bananas.
Don't tempt me with a good time, man. I've read some shit.
Sammy, have you not read them?
Oh, you should. You should try them out. Okay.
Now is it like
a
smutty
series of 4
kind of?
erotic fantasy
it is
novels?
more than
okay, so it's
smutty.
like romantic-y sort of?
No. It's
like Beauty's release.
The
Beauty's
romantic
punishment.
girlies like these days would blush at these books. Like,
okay,
they're-
I read the God, what was it? I can't even remember what it was called, but I don't even want to say. I don't even want to say.
No, like these.
Well, okay,
so
like what?
this series, like Book Talk, would consider these problematic. Honestly, like they would consider these problematic.
It was called "Does It Hurt?" and the things that happen in it. There's like a part.
Do they hurt?
There's a part where it's like he shoves her head into shark-infested waters and then has sex with her while like the sharks are like circling her head.
It's called Dangerous Animals 2.
Yeah, but like it's like
Spoilers, no.
you want them together.
Like
at the
Courtney's
end.
like, sign me up.
Like it was like as I was reading, I was just like, what am I doing with my life? But like I ate it all
thing
up.
is-
I read the whole thing.
These are fantasy and smut, but they're not romantic. Like,
No.
That's the thing.
It's like
It's
Ice Planet Barbarians.
Lady
kind of.
Chatterley is fucking everyone on the plantation.
It says the series is considered a forerunner of modern erotic literature.
Okay,
And
so my mom used to take me to the mall and she would go shopping and I would sneak into Book World and I would find these and I would sit on the floor and hide.
oh my god,
and,
I would
like,
do the
I would
same
skim
thing
through
before
them and
I
try
got
to
go by
find the
myself
dirty
one
parts.
time, and I bought one. Yes.
like, oh.
Oh my god, I would.
So
I
is
could
it
never
Sleeping
buy one,
Beauty?
but I would
Is
like
it
see if I
about
could
her?
try to figure it out.
Is it about Sleeping Beauty?
Yes.
I'm covering his ears.
I've
You
only
can't
skimmed
listen.
it, so I don't know.
Yes, it is about
Explore
Sleeping Beauty.
themes of desire and
I don't
submission
even think
and
I have my copy
enslavement.
anymore because a friend of mine, I was telling her how like salacious it is, and she's like, "Oh, I've got to read this," and I don't think I ever got it back from her. I'm so mad. There's several though. There's like several.
It's- yeah,
Like,
it
I'm
says-
keeping this.
Sleeping Beauty, or the claiming of Sleeping Beauty, Beauty's
Yes.
punishment, Beauty's release, and Beauty's kingdom, where the prince awakens the princess through sexual initiation, leading to her
Mhm.
complete servitude. Okay, earmuffs off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Puss.
Oh, yeah, this is definitely too mature for Puss in Boots.
Yeah, I don't think he's very uncomfortable right now.
Well, listeners, sound off in the comments. Have you read
the
these
Sleeping Beauty
books?
quartet?
Exactly, yes. Oh my god, a quartet is what
That's what it's called. That's what it says. So
Because it's a symphony of arousal, you know?
she even used a pseudonym. She was like,
she
I
used
don't
a
want
pseudonym.
people to know
When
it's
I bought
me.
him, it still like wasn't super widely known that it was her, but it was like enough known
Oh
because
my
of the
God.
internet. But like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna have to. This is.
I'm trying to
unfortunately
think
right
of
up my
some
alley.
stupid synonym for rice, and I was like, it's Andy quinoa or something.
Yeah, it's quinoa. Yeah.
And on that note, let's go to our next category before I fully embarrass myself. This is Who Is She?
I just wish we could all get along like we used to in middle school. I wish that I could bake a cake made out of rainbows and smiles and we'd all eat it, be happy.
She doesn't even go here.
Do you even go to this school?
Okay, so we're talking about, we just talked about Anne Rice, who killed us all with her writing, and we love it. But we're talking about Claudia today, who's played by Kirsten Dunst, baby Kirsten Dunst, with just like, when she is yelling at Lestat, like the way her voice is
So
like
good.
childish screaming,
Mhm.
I love it. Like, you clean it up. I'm like, oh my God, I love you so much. Okay, her victims are mere humans. And among these mere humans are a piano teacher, a doll maker, a seamstress, a beautiful woman, and some rando who takes pity on a little girl all alone. And then she kills Lestat. And she doesn't kill Madeline, but she contributes to her death. And we'll talk
Yeah.
about that. So, and I mean, I guess if, if we're talking about a mortal life, then she does at least cause Madeline's death because
Mhm.
she dies to vampirism.
I would agree with that.
Okay, so our motive we're going to discuss because it's complicated. Because we could just say kid, but it's
She's hangry.
hangry. Yes,
Hangry.
true.
She's not a kid though.
It's exactly. It's a lot more. Well, and though she doesn't look any different, she
Is.
changes dramatically over the course of the movie. Our weapons: childlike beauty, vampire shit, bad blood, which is now going to be in my head.
Mm.
And I love that song, so that's good. Gator swamp and fire. Okay,
Gator
so
swamp.
Gator swamp.
Gator.
Gator swamp. Shelby, why does Lestat create Claudia?
So they I don't know if I'm the one to answer this question. Honestly, it's a little hard because I have the book and the books and the movie like so confounded in my head. Sometimes
Yeah.
it is hard for me to like talk about the movie
Separate
because I'm
it.
like, well, here's why.
Mhm.
They wanted a baby together. They wanted to have a
Yes.
baby together. That's what they
Yes.
wanted. They wanted to have a
Mhm.
little baby. They wanted to play house. They wanted to be beautiful husbands together in their beautiful mansion and have a baby. And like and then they were like, and also Louis and Lestat are just the most toxic couple ever in the history of the world.
Seriously.
And so they were just like, I mean, what's the more classical thing for a toxic couple to do?
Yep,
Yep.
we're
But
gonna
to
have
have
a
a
baby.
That's
fix-it baby.
exactly
Solve
what
everything.
I wrote. Yes.
Yep. Have a baby to
Yes.
save the relationship.
Exactly. Tale as old as time.
Yeah. Sammy, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I also think it's just like a ploy for him to keep Louis. Like it's
Yeah.
too like specifically in the movie. I feel like
Yes.
and like they're married. Like they are married. They're a
They're
married
common law
couple. The
vampires.
first gay married couple. Okay, like they said, gay rights. Puss in
Yeah,
Boots
love is
says gay
love.
rights. But I also think like as a character, Claudia kind of takes on, just like a kid would, like aspects of both of her pseudo fathers throughout the course of the film. She's like, she looks to Louis and gets kind of Louis's like comfort and like to gain a moral compass from him, but she has like the angst and manipulative qualities of Lestat. So it's like she does, they did pick someone that kind of looks like the both of them too, so it does feel like she's genetically as like close as possible to be their kid. It's like when someone adopts a kid, but they only will adopt a kid that like looks kind of like them, so they can tell
Yes.
people that like it's actually their kid and they didn't really adopt, because that actually does happen.
Charlotte from Sex and the City.
Yes, exactly.
Early season Charlotte, sorry.
And
3
I know,
seasons
Shelby,
ago.
you know this, but she's 5 years old in the book. Like she is very, very young.
She's
so
very young.
and in the TV show, I guess they even raise it higher than
she's
in
like
this one.
She looks
in her
way older. I haven't
teens.
watched
Yeah.
it, but she looks even older.
She's in her
the TV
teens.
show.
The
like Holly
actress is
Wheeler age.
18, so I imagine they had to like 5
Well,
is
to
a very
get
young.
around those
It
kid
is young.
shooting rules.
Yes.
I think.
I was gonna say,
True.
from shooting reasons, I can see why, but it is like if you picture it's so much more jarring when you're reading it and picturing a 5-year-old, like, especially when she becomes like a woman mentally. It's like,
Yes.
ugh.
Also,
Yeah.
like I guess in the film, it's different. Like they portray his guilt with Claudia, I feel like a little differently than what I remember. Because in the book, like in the original novel, he manages to arrive in Paris like before Louis and Claudia do, and finds and like talks to Armand and reveals how Louis and Claudia tried to kill him, and like I think that like seals their fate kind of too. But like it's not until I think he's also like he's the one that was supposed to be put in the dungeon, if I remember correctly.
So,
Maybe
yeah.
not Louis, like, or I mean,
Yeah.
it's supposed to be Lestat. So like they definitely change a couple of things, but like she is like figuratively, and literally like he's haunted by her ghost kind of like throughout the rest of this series, from what I can imagine. Like she haunts the narrative for him. I think in the book they make it very clear that he feels a lot of guilt over what happened, whereas I feel like in this he's like, fucking bitch, like he's very like not submissive, dismissive of her, and
Yeah.
I feel like it's a totally different narrative in the book, from what I can remember.
Interesting. Rachel, what do you think?
I think everything Sammy and Shelby said. If I'm going to give Lestat some sort of, I don't know, if I'm going to give him some credit and look at it a little bit differently, if he actually, because I do think he actually does like Louis and has a crush on Louis, and is a little bit frustrated that Louis not reciprocating that energy. I think that's why he picked him. He's like, oh man, that guy is smoking. I'm going to make him my forever husband. But Louis not reciprocating that really, right? Like there's a lot of resentment there. And so if I'm giving Lestat some credit and being quite generous reading into this, I can see a way, because this Lestat or Louis kills her basically. And I think Lestat knows that he's never going to be able to get past this.
Yeah.
And this will be the thing that pushes him to either somehow take himself off this mortal coil or leave Lestat, something bad will happen from this. Like, there's no way he goes from eating rats and eating poodles to killing a small child.
Yeah.
Like, that's going to eat this man up. So I think Lestat could also be seen like, I'm going to turn her. That way he doesn't have to live with that guilt. But what he doesn't understand is there's a whole other guilt. And like Claudia has her own issues, right? As we see later, like, why did you do this?
Yeah.
And so it's like he doesn't think it through very well. I think he thinks it's a quick fix and like, oh, I can do something nice for you. And plus bonus, you'll stay now.
Yeah.
And you don't have to feel bad. You didn't kill her. She's with us forever. Yay, right? Are you
saved a
so
life.
happy?
Yeah. White
And
picket
I-
fences, Louis.
Yeah.
You don't gotta kill
Exactly.
yourself. Like,
Well, and I think that Lestat is so petty too that it's half that, and the other half is now I can hold her over your head forever too.
Yes.
It's like
absolutely.
I can.
You're gonna
This is
abandon
a
her?
very exactly.
Your
Yeah,
child?
you were
I think
gonna
that's the
kill
real
her.
reason. I was
Yeah.
like just trying to.
No, but I think it's a mix of both because I agree with you. I don't think Lestat is all bad. Like I think he is an asshole, but that probably hides some.
He's also been around a
vulnerability.
lot longer
lonely.
too.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
you lose your humanity the longer you're a monster. You know,
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I do think it makes sense that like he has the wisdom. He's been doing this for a long time. Like when Louis like being a little baby about killing people, he's like, dude, I've been doing this for centuries. So I
Exactly.
think he's like 200 years old. I think they age him up in the movie.
Mm.
But still, 2 centuries of killing people, and like he takes forever to get to it. So it's like I'd be annoyed. I'd be like, come on, guy, like I've been doing
Yeah.
this. Come on, get over it.
It's like you like the emo guy because he's so cute, but then you're like, ugh, like you
Just
have
do-
so
his
many
whole vibe
feelings.
is
Yeah.
Like,
exhausting.
come
Yeah.
on.
I can't fix you. Lestat
Exactly.
wanted to fix him, and he can't fix him.
Louis was like, no. But you know what does fix things? Let's have a baby,
Mhm.
Also-
Doesn't always.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I love that, like, the way they work this out, it's perfect for this, like, queer-coded couple because one, like, Louis takes her life and then Lestat gives it. So it's like
Mhm.
they're both contributing to the creation of this life. It's really cool.
Beautiful.
And it went completely over my head the first time I watched it. And I think that's part of the reason I liked this so much better after I could like fully appreciate what it's doing because I just there's so many more layers to this under the surface than what is
Yeah.
on top, Okay, let's see.
Get in our Mustang.
Let's get in our Mustang
yeah.
that we somehow know how to drive. You know
know.
what? He learned in a gator swamp.
Mhm.
There were probably some idiot Florida
ton
men
of driving
down in-
gators.
They taught him to drive
There's
the
the
dick out
gators.
there. Yeah.
They drive.
Exactly.
Right?
They do. Yeah. I mean, they're mutants. They got flushed or
Yeah.
something. You
Yeah.
know, who knows what's going on down in? I guess it's not
I
Florida.
don't know. He hung
It's
out
Florida
with Lana Del Rey,
adjacent.
right?
Yeah,
Hooked up
That's
with her
right.
husband.
That's who taught him to drive. Lana
It
Del
was.
Rey.
It was
taught
her
him to drive.
husband.
Yeah. What if she was like, "Hey, I'm getting married to my gator husband, and it is the vampire list."
Do you think they could crossbreed? Do you think you could make a crocodile vampire? Like, what is the science there? Can you make
Crocovamp.
animals
You
that
know,
are vampires?
Vampidile?
The books go
Yeah.
pretty off the rails. At one point,
Wait, do we get
Lestat
some
does,
bestiality?
at one point, Lestat conceives a child through science, and it gets weird. He also goes to
Beeble bobble
Atlantis
beep.
at one point and meets God and
Ooh.
Satan.
A junior
So-
scenario. Like, what's
I
going
mean, what's not to love? You know, I do
I
think
love
Tom
the
Cruise
Disney
could figure out how to
animated
do
Atlantis.
anything.
So
Okay, well, let's get in our Mustang. We're going to a gator swamp because get in, loser. We're going killing.
This woman will soon cut, chop, break, and burn 5 men beyond recognition. And there isn't a jury in this country that will convict her.
Okay, so let's talk about Louis, our poor little emo vampire baby who's just so sad,
get over it.
I
Move
know.
on.
He's so
I'm
sad.
bored.
I will
and
say, Louis in the books is just as much of a fucking wet blanket. Like he's
Really?
so
It's like
sad.
Edward. Like as much as I love Edward,
Oh,
because
I
obviously
know.
I'm
Mhm.
Team Edward. Like,
Yeah.
I don't trust you if you're Team Jacob. I
Right.
just don't. I'm
Jacob
sorry.
is for Renesmee, okay?
Yeah, it's also like
It's
Stephanie
science.
Meyer's brother was named Jacob, so do with that what you
What?
will. Okay, yeah.
I
Think of
can't
that.
wait to talk about these movies one
Yes.
day.
I know, but Edward, if you read Midnight Sun, which of course I have. It's his POV, and you're just like, dude, like, stop. You're a vampire. Like, come on, boo hoo. I feel so sorry for you in your mansion. Like, come on.
This is just so
there are people
tortured.
dying,
So
Kim.
sad.
It's like there are people that are dying. It's like Dawson too, from
Yes.
Dawson's Creek.
I've just never been the whiny, like,
I'm just
literally,
so
as my
pretty
sticker
and sad
says,
and
like,
rich.
morally
I don't-
gray is my favorite type of character. Like, it is, I like a bad boy. And so the sad boy just doesn't do it for me. It's just like,
Same.
I'm sad too.
It's like an ingenue,
Right?
I think
Yes.
it is really hard to make an ingenue interesting. And I think Brad Pitt's beauty goes a long way. His like super glassy blue eyes in this movie go a long way, but they don't quite get us there, especially when he's right next to Lestat, who is just like
Yeah.
chewing up and draining the blood out of all of the scenery.
Every
you know,
scene, yes.
it's like
Yes.
you can't
Agreed.
compete.
Mm-mm.
So we're introduced to Sad Lewis. He says, I had lost my wife in childbirth, and she and the infant had been buried less than half a year. I'm not going to read the whole thing. But he says, most of all, I longed for death. I know that now. I invited it, a release from the pain of living. My invitation was open to anyone, to the whore at my side, to the pimp that followed, but it was a vampire that accepted it. Now,
Honestly,
I will
that was
say,
a good impression, Jen.
Well, thank you.
Can you layer some
impressive.
violin under that?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
dearest mother.
Also, every time we say Lewis, I think of the gator from Princess and the Frog, who is named Lewis, and I also have a plush of him in the other room. So,
Uh-oh. I mean, maybe he's named after. It's
is.
hard for me to keep saying Louis.
oh, me too.
because
That's why I say it, like I keep
I
doing
just
it
don't
as
like
well.
that name. Apologies to our Louis listeners.
It's
but-
hard. It's just
yeah.
like ES. I don't know.
I know.
Okay, the one time I do really like Brad Pitt in this movie is when he pulls open his shirt and he's like, "You lack the courage of your convictions, sir." I do
It's
like
good.
that, and it's at
Yes.
the very beginning, and I was like, "I'm in," and then he bored me to death.
He
So-
gets sad.
He does get sad. Okay, well, so he is so sad. He says, I want to die. Most of all, I longed for death. And then he's got Lestat being like, hey, I'll kill you. So, Rachel, why do you think he chooses to become a vampire?
Yeah, great question. Real dumb move here,
Uh-huh.
Louis. Like, I want to die, so actually I'm gonna
Live
live
forever.
That,
Yeah.
that sounds great. Not a great move for him. Not the smartest decision he ever made, but I get it. Like, I've been there. I've made many a rash decision when I'm down and out. So who am I to talk and judge? However, I do think he was just at a point where he just didn't care and is like, sure, why the hell not? I just want to feel something other than this, or make me not feel like, kind of like how we've talked about like it with Gen V, and just like, I don't want to feel anything anymore, right?
Yeah.
And how Kate would just like, okay, you're just not going to feel anything because like I don't want to deal with this.
Yeah.
And so I get it, but I think, and you can't blame him. I mean, who's to know, right? Especially at
Yeah.
this time for this character, is he supposed to just automatically know what this is going to mean for him? But maybe he just means or like thinks in some way that this is going to take me out of this life and give me another one. And I just don't want to be here in this anymore. So I understand that. It's just the bummer of the situation is he soon realizes like, well, this didn't solve anything. In fact, this just made everything worse. Which I also think it's funny because I could not stop thinking about. It's a very similar performance, but kind of like opposite in some ways. Is Brad Pitt in Meet Joe Black, where he's playing Death. But it's like very similar a lot of times, like kind of delivery and just kind of, but in that
Sad
movie,
death.
he's kind of like a dopey, but he's
Yeah.
interested in life, but he's also death, but he's just very sort of aloof a lot of the times and very like one note. And it's kind of the same thing here. So I do think his performance is giving us a lot of that. I think there is a road where there could have been more depth to this character in this performance, but like we said, he just didn't want to be here. He didn't want to do this movie, and
He
it just
doesn't have
really
the element, man. He
Yeah.
hasn't got it.
doesn't give it quite the nuance. But I do think that this character he just wanted to feel something, and I can understand that.
Yeah. Who among us,
Mm.
Well, Sammy, what do you think? Why does he become a vampire?
I think like, first and foremost, the vampires aren't good guys, which is something that I love about this film and this story in general. And it's not really concerned with, like, the moral rights or wrongs of their vampiric nature, despite this constant heavy wrestling Louis is doing with his humanity. And unlike, many vampire stories, I feel like this film argues that being a vampire is sort of a rude awakening and just a terrible burden. And I think it's also important to remember that everything is told by Louis and is therefore colored through Louis's bias. And he doesn't really like Lestat at like many of the points of the story. So the Lestat from the interview, I think, is quite different from maybe like what he was actually like. We don't really know because it's all narrated from his POV. So he's kind of an unreliable narrator. I think there's an argument to be made that he manipulates and maybe suppresses the truth to justify his actions and kind of paints himself as a victim, especially concerning his relationship with Lestat and his role in Claudia's fate. Like, I do think there is a way to look at it to make, like, especially if I didn't read the books, I'd be like, who am I to trust you? I don't know. This is your part of the story. Like, I don't know if it's real. And also, I wanted to point out, and of course, Shelby, you'll know this, in the novel, it's his brother that dies, not his wife and child, which I think kind of changes. I do think, like, the addition of it being the child makes sense for, like, Claudia to come in, It's like, hey, he's lost his kid before, now he wants another kid. So I do appreciate that change. But yeah,
you know what else it does? I mean, and this is something about this movie, that it's like male vampire characters. And so, and I think I'm crediting the horror queers, our friends at the horror queers, for this. By giving him a wife and a child, it makes him heteronormative.
Yeah.
So it kind of
that's
like
exactly what I think the
plays
change was.
against the
He's not gay. He had a wife, you guys.
Yeah, see,
exactly.
it's okay.
Bi
Like,
people don't exist, right? Like, that's basically what
He
they're
had a wife
trying
and a
to say.
kid.
Yeah.
it's the 90s, right? So they're like,
He's
no,
safe
he was
for you
straight,
to
see?
identify with.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Shelby, what do you think?
I mean, like everyone said, Sammy, it's really interesting to think about that. Like, I was like, wow, yeah, I guess if someone sat down and interviewed me about my ex, it wouldn't be the nicest.
It's going to be
picture.
biased. And,
I
like,
didn't even think
trust
about
me,
that.
I really
like,
didn't
we're
think
all
about that. Yeah,
it doesn't mean anyone's right or wrong in this situation, but like it's through glasses that are your experience,
Yeah.
So like
absolutely.
especially if we don't know, like, I would love to hear Lestat's POV. Like, I'd love to
You
hear
do get to hear it
his-
later in Vampire
Okay.
Lestat, which I liked better than
Ooh.
this book. Which is kind of funny. She wrote this first, but then when she goes on to write the Vampire Lestat, it's almost like she was like, Louis was right, actually. Yeah, he's kind of an asshole.
Is it a prequel or is it?
It's sort of because it you start with with Lestat's origin story, so it's like, but then it goes through
So
all
it's
the
like
way
Midnight
through all of
Sun.
this, yeah. But then
Yeah.
to other and like, I mean, and you get to the mom stuff, which I've heard they're like going to be like delicate about in the show. Everybody's like, how are they going to handle his mom? Because he has kind of he turns his mom into a
It's like
vampire.
Boardwalk Empire.
Ooh.
Like, is it? Have
Why?
you watched that?
Why would
Like,
anybody do that?
So he turns his mom into a vampire because he's like, there's definitely like an incest type.
Yeah,
There's
that,
not,
so it's
like-
like Boardwalk Empire. Then, yeah,
Yeah, it's like, what's it? Emotional incest. I brought this up. Did I bring this up like 2 weeks ago where I was like, I watched it on Intervention and I learned this term.
Yes. We were
yes.
talking about, why were we talking about incest?
We were talking
2
about
weeks
incest
ago?
a lot. Oh,
Crimson
Crimson
Peak?
Peak.
Crimson Peak.
Yes.
That's right. Because of the incest plot line
Because of
in
the
Crimson Peak.
incest,
That's why.
yes.
Yeah.
Not because
also
of our
because we were flirting with incest month. You know?
yes, yes.
But
It's
that
not due
could
to our
be like a
infatuation
tidbit.
with
Like that could be on a
incest.
sticker because of the incest.
Yes.
Like
Because of
for
the incest.
Gothic Horror Month. Yeah.
I mean,
Um,
look, we want to do some merch, so listeners, let
So
us know.
That's
if you
it. That's
wanna-
the first piece.
because of the incest shirt.
because of the
show up
I'll
at your
sign it for
local
you at
voting
Creep by
polls.
Econ.
Yeah.
Oh, this is coming out after that. Never mind. I
In
hope I
the-
signed it for
hey,
you.
next,
In the fall.
Next
In
one,
In the
yeah.
fall. In the
We'll
fall.
all sign it.
There's
We'll
like 5
all
of them a
sign it.
year. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, but like Rachel said, where it's like, I think it was just like, okay, my dad used to give me this, I don't know if you'd call it fatherly advice, but it was like, hey, because like depression definitely runs in our family, like hardcore. And he'd be like, if you ever like really want to kill yourself, go like jump out of an airplane, but like in a safe, like, or like
Yeah.
go
Feel
to
something.
Europe. He's like,
Yeah.
even just spend all your money. Like, who cares? You're gonna die the next day, so like,
Yeah.
go just do whatever. Like, if you're genuinely suicidal, and he's like, and then if you realize, oh, that's too scary, then like you need to give it another shot. Then you need to
Yeah.
like pull
I like
it back.
that
And
advice,
again,
actually.
yeah, and so like he's told me that like several times throughout my life, And I don't know if he was more talking to himself than to me, but it stuck at me anyway. And so I think Louis was kind of doing that. It's like, you know what? I just want to die, but like, so why not? I feel like he didn't even really believe in vampires. He's like, sure, dude, fucking make me a vampire. Like, okay.
Yeah.
And
I also
then,
wonder if there was like an element of survivor's guilt too, because if his wife and child died, then like if he pretend he did know what a vampire was, like I deserve this fate.
Yeah.
Like, sure, this is a bad thing.
he is very,
this guy's
like,
gonna bite me. Like,
self-loathing.
sure,
Yeah.
like I deserve this
I just-
kind of
yeah.
thing. Same thing with like the fine, shoot me.
Yeah.
You know, like he's
Like a
wanting it,
punishment.
and he's like, yes, like do something bad to me. Whether he actually thinks it's gonna turn him into a vampire, this guy's still gnawing on his neck, right? Like it's not
Yeah.
necessarily a great thing.
exactly.
And I actually because I forgot I wrote this down, Shelby, because I was doing research into the other books, and since I haven't read them, this is a spoiler for them. Sorry if you guys are. I imagine the listeners don't really care, but this plays into kind of what we think of, or what I just said about like how Louis, is unreliable narrator, or like we've just getting his POV. Lestat wasn't given the choice by his maker. The vampire who made him, Magnus.
There's a big allegory for rape in Lestat's story.
Like, and he was living as an actor in Paris. He was kidnapped, tortured, and forced to become a vampire. Then killed himself immediately after making Lestat a vampire. The guy who made him, evidently, that's what it says. So then it goes on to say, furthermore, Lestat's reasoning for turning Louis into a vampire was more personal than out of outright malice. After Lestat arrives in America from Europe with his ailing and blind father, he feels lonely, sad. He soon comes across Louis and becomes attracted to him, and due to his attraction for him, to where he wants to make him as a companion, and looking for someone to house his father until he passes, Lestat turns Louis into a vampire. But he gives him the choice.
He asks for consent. So.
Yeah, I mean,
and
I think Louis is the villain of the movie.
I honestly
He might. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because when Lestat is turned by it starts with an M, the guy who turns him,
Magnus.
but he does die. Magnus, yeah. He basically, like, because he dies right away, I feel like it's also kind of a thing of like sometimes sexual assault, you don't get answers. You don't.
Yep.
You
or
don't
your
get
revenge,
a happy
or
ending.
like yeah.
So it's like he didn't even get his revenge. And God, it's always stuck in my head. Like the guy even asked him like what he wants his like last meal to be, but like I don't think he like phrases it like that. And he wants white wine and green apples, and that's always stuck with me. I've always wanted like a perfume scented with white wine and green apples because of that. But that's a whole thing. But yeah, like I think we're like Rachel and Sammy said, where it's like a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but also grief is just a weird monster sometimes, and depression. Honestly, Louis is just depressed. I know he's grieving his depending brother or wife and child, depending on what version. But also, like, you meet him later on in the series, like Blood Canticle, which was supposed to be the last one, and then it wasn't. And he's like still at the house. He's still at the mansion house thing, and like he doesn't like go do like all the other vampires do. He's just kind of like existing. He hasn't killed himself, but he's also like not like, I don't know, thriving. So it's like,
what a
he's
lame
just kind
existence.
of a gloomy character, honestly.
Yeah. And I think there's an allure to becoming a vampire for sure. You know,
I wouldn't say no.
Which is
I would say yes
same.
immediately.
Yeah.
I almost asked. That was almost my first question, but then I remembered. I think I've already asked that at some point, because that's always
or
my
you know us all well enough that you're like
exactly. And I was
We're
like,
all
no,
signed
we
up.
all say
Without
yes.
a hesitation.
So I
Would
think
not
there's-
even think twice.
Right. And I think part of it too is I think he kind of chickens out. You know, it's one thing to say I long for death. It's one thing to invite it, but it's like passive suicidality too. Like when it actually is his choice, I think he chickens out. I think he can't actually do it, or he realizes I don't actually want to die. I just don't want to feel this way anymore. And then so it's kind of like a mix of, Rachel, what you're saying. It's like I want to feel something. And what he feels immediately after is like things are moving. Like I'm seeing the world in a new way, you know? And so, yeah. And I think, Shelby, that's like when you were talking about what your dad said, that's when I was kind of thinking about that. It's like, it's one thing to say it and it's another thing to do it. And I don't mean, like, I want to be careful how I talk about this.
No,
I'm talking about
it's a delicate
suicide,
thing to talk about, but I definitely agree with you. Yeah.
But it's also like if you've ever been suicidal or if you've ever, dealt with self-harm, like it is real. It's something that you deal with, And I think it's so interesting because there's this new movie, a new adaptation of Dracula out, and I haven't
yeah.
seen it
I
yet.
haven't either. I'm excited to see it.
I am too, because I like Caleb Landry Jones,
Yeah.
and he's playing
I
Dracula.
just like vampires. So
I do
it's like,
too.
I'm
I know,
showing
and
up.
I'll always take a new vampire story. But it's like I was thinking about this, like especially with Bram Stoker's Dracula, because it's like, oh, my Elisabetta died, and I can't wait to reunite with her. And it's so counterintuitive to say, I will do the thing that will make me live forever so that I will never reunite with her. And that's kind of what we're doing here too. It's like, well, I could be with my wife and child if I actually wanted that
to die. Yeah.
but he doesn't do it, and I think it's partly punishment, but also maybe if he is a queer man too, who, because he was born in this time period, had to marry a woman and had to be this man, maybe this is like opening his eyes to another kind of life that he didn't ever think that he could have, and so now he's like, and then maybe I don't know, maybe he just can't, he's just so sad.
Yeah. Can't move
know.
on. Can't do it. Even when given the chance.
Yeah. I also think he's not really a doer. Like, he's not an active character. He's
He's not a
a
doer.
contemplator, and that's not bad, but I think this is the easiest thing he can do. Because that's what Lestat wants him to say. Lestat wants to turn him into a vampire, so it's almost kind of like a passive acceptance also,
There's a little story from the books. I can't even remember which book, but this is like such a good way of putting Louis. Someone comes, I think it's Lestat. He comes to see Louis at the house again, and Lestat sees this ghost of this man searching this desk, and it's a ghost, and he's like frantically searching this desk, and he goes to Louis and he's like, what is this? And Louis like, oh yeah, like everybody sees him, and like we think that there's probably like a hidden treasure or something, but like we've searched the desk or whatever, and it's like, oh, we couldn't find anything. And it's like, I'm sorry, you've seen your ancestor's ghost searching this desk frantically. You think there's like a family secret or a treasure, and
you're
Louis
just like,
meh, what are you gonna do?
You have eternal time. Like, just find it.
But that's what I remember thinking in the book, reading the book. I'm like, you have spend a couple days on it,
Yeah.
a couple days out of your eternity to figure it
What
out.
is
Right?
it? Not 10 years to someone
He's
who is
so
immortal.
like disinterested, and Lestat's like, it's like, and Lestat has seen everything. He's been a rock star at this point, and he's again literally met God and Satan, and he's like, there's a ghost though, and Louis like, there are ghosts. I don't know. And it's like, that's Louis in a nutshell. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Not a doer.
I love that God exists in this universe and is a person you can meet. That's incredible.
He's disappointed. He tells Lestat he's disappointed in him, by the way.
Maybe it was just Ralph
Is
Fiennes.
he disappointed
I
in
was
all
gonna
of
say,
us?
or
Alanis
Yeah.
Morissette.
Or Ralph. Sorry, Ralph? How do you say
Rafe.
that?
Yeah.
Rafe?
It's
Yeah.
Rafe Fiennes.
Fiennes.
Sorry, that was not a British accent. Yeah, and I wonder too, now I'm kind of working on this pet theory of like Louis just kind of personifying depression, because that is something when you're depressed, you don't want to do anything. And I think grieving like prolonged grieving can flip into depression too, where you just kind of can't get out of it.
Well, there's no easy fix, right? Like,
Right.
that's not going to, like, I'm sorry. Like, that's not, there's nothing that's going to
There's
get
no
you
miracle
out of
move
this
on pill.
necessarily.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to have to do some work yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously that's not the only thing that can help, but I think it's kind of, that part I do like about it a little bit, that it's like, no, okay, now you're just living forever and you're still bummed out. Like, you're going to have to.
And you're still not doing any
confront
work on it.
this.
You're just
Right.
still just.
Well, it's like
Open
the
the
AA
desk.
saying,
I
it's
tried
like
nothing,
wherever
and
you
nothing
go,
worked.
there you are, wherever,
exactly.
whatever state, human, immortal you become, you're still you, and you still have
I
to
wonder
deal with
if
your
maybe
problems.
when you get turned, you're like, whatever you're feeling in that moment is like an emotion that like you can't get rid of,
Oh,
if
just like
you're,
the way like your hair and everything stays the
yeah,
same
like
length.
it's like
I mean,
if you're
that's
like
interesting.
super
Ugh.
depressed when you get turned, or you like kind of, can you shake that depression? Is
I
it
feel
part
like
of
on
your mental?
period, like,
Oh my god.
That is hell.
Okay, I think about that a lot too because of this movie, because of Claudia, and we're going to talk about her in a minute, but I think about like, will you become your hottest self? Because
Yeah, is it like the
sometimes-
beauty or the substance,
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes that happens. Like in some vampire lore, like you are your hottest self to make yourself the best hunter, but sometimes you're frozen as yourself.
it's like
you know,
a little
and
bit of
that
both with
sucks.
Anne Rice. Like, there's a vampire who was a Viking, and like his maker had him like
Ooh.
shave his Viking beard because she was like she like had some foresight that like those beards wouldn't forever
gonna
like
be in.
yeah, basically where he couldn't fit in. And
Mhm.
so like he gets frozen like that. But then there's also like one thing that's big in the books is like their fingernails look like glass. They're so like polished and shiny. So like there are parts of you that just become their best selves, but also like stuff does stay frozen. Like your hair stays the same. And
Oh
like
God, what a nightmare.
Like, what if you had a really bad haircut, or like
That's the
you had
thing.
really
I
like dead
know.
ends? You know,
Well, and
like,
because I just edited our ugly stepsister episode, I'm thinking like, girl,
oh my
don't
God,
get
I
that
know.
buccal fat removed.
I gotta go get
'cause
my
I'm gonna
lashes
turn you
sewn
into a
on.
vampire.
Be right back. Like,
well, and it's like I love to change my hair color all of the time. Like I'd
Me
have to wear
too.
wigs.
Yeah.
I'd have to wear wigs. Like
Yeah.
it would.
Which and sometimes you can glamour too. Like I probably could, I don't know.
or
would-
sparkle.
Or sparkle. I used to have a shirt that says "I heart sparkly vampires." To go see New Moon is when we made it. Okay, well, let's talk about a vampire who doesn't physically sparkle, but his personality sure does sparkle. We're going to talk about Lestat, but before we do that, let's pay some bills. I probably should formally apologize to Anne Rice and Tom Cruise because I keep saying Lestat because I'm a root and
I've
toot
always
and gator
heard
swamp
Lestat,
gal.
but he's
Lestat.
French,
Yeah.
so he says
That's fine.
Lestat. You like
Lestat. Lestat.
Yeah.
But
So
Luckily,
I've always
she's
said
dead,
Lestat.
so I
That's
think she's
true,
good. I don't, but like
so-
Tom Cruise, if you're listening, we're really sorry.
He's a
I'm
big fan.
so sorry.
That was another. Oh, he does listen. Yes,
I know he's a
Tom,
big fan
Tom
of the
Cruise
pod.
sound off in the comments
Yeah.
too.
Oh, you didn't
now
get
that
your-
we're video,
You didn't
He's
get your
gonna know
coconut
about
cake?
Cruise
I was just
Cast.
gonna I also think when I was 14, I was like, how do I fucking say this name? I can't
Lestat.
lock into this because I
Lestat
don't
de
understand the name.
Lion-Court.
Lestat.
Yeah.
The Lion Court.
The Lion Court.
Lestat the Lion
That's how
Court.
it's
Yeah.
spelled. It's so
American.
funny. And then but then everyone pronounces it different. Like I've heard her pronounce it in interviews differently
Lion
than other
Court.
times. So like,
Yeah.
because like some people, I've heard someone say like Lion Coup, and it's like that's not even really the proper French pronunciation
There's a
of it. So
C in
yeah,
there.
It always reminds me of the Lannisters too, and I know that Game of
Mm.
Thrones was after this, way after this, but or at least the TV version of Game
The
of
TV I
Thrones,
was
which
gonna
is
say the books
all
were
I
in-
know.
The books were not in the 70s, so yeah, no,
Okay.
he definitely it was later.
Okay, well, let's talk about Lestat. So I wrote down a couple of things. He's talking to Claudia. He says, I took your life. He gave you another one. And nope, Louis says that to Claudia. Listeners, you know what I'm talking about. And then he says, Lestat killed 2, sometimes 3 a night. A fresh young girl that was his favorite for the first of the evening. For seconds, he preferred a gilded, beautiful youth. But the snob in him loved to hunt in society, and the blood of the aristocrat thrilled him best of all. I think that Lestat would be super exhausting, but also really, really fun to hang out with. Like, he's the
I'd love
one
to
you
see
want
him
to party
now.
with.
Like I feel like
Right?
he'd be like eating billionaires and CEOs and trust fund babies.
I
definitely
know, right?
But like the
Yeah.
friend you can only see like once every like twice a year maybe because it's
Mhm.
like I
Yes.
can only
That drains
that.
you.
yeah.
It's like that episode of Friends where they have their mystery high school friend that's coming in town. And they're like, whenever we hang out with this guy, we never know what's going to happen. And he brings like socks and like Canadian money or something. It's like that friend where you never know what's going to happen. He's going to get you into some kind of trouble. And it's going to be really fun. And he's so fucking charming that he can pull it off. But then like after 20 years of it, you're like,
Yeah.
fuck you, dude.
The party's over.
Exactly. So, Sammy, why do you think Claudia wants to kill Lestat?
I mean, wouldn't you? I think,
Right.
you know, her narrative arc is one of rage, you know, against this child's body she's been cursed with. So in turn, I think she moves from this caricature of this submissive, like, doll trope to a vengeful force, which anyone would, because as she matures mentally, she resents her inability to grow physically, leading to this intense feeling against her creators. And I absolutely, it's like how we feel about our God. You know, why did you create us if you hate us so much and you're putting us through so much trials and tribulations? Like these are her gods essentially. And I think her actions here of killing him sort of represent, you know, a reclamation of her agency a little bit. You know, I think her situation sort of acts as a metaphor for the control that our society has over women's bodies, where she is loved but restricted and infantilized. And I've always felt like Louis sort of enables her, you know. In all honesty, I think that Lestat is the the better parent of the two, just given the situation. Like, yes, he was tough and he was distasteful and he's mean, but she's a vampire, not a regular human child. And even when she's on her killing spree and taking souvenirs, like Louis didn't know like what to do, you know, or to like how to punish her. And Lestat is the one that like has to like kind of take over and control the situation. And I think Louis just coddles her too much. You know, he was supposed to take charge as the older sibling parent, like trope that he's been assigned as, but he allowed everything to take place just to make her happy. And I don't know if it was out of guilt or what have you, but she might have still been alive if he hadn't, like, you know, done whatever it was that she wanted. She's like a daddy's girl in that situation, and he's kind of the submissive daddy that just gives his daughter whatever she wants. And Lestat's like, no, we can't soft parent her, you know, she's a vampire. And I think that's, you know, a lot of why she does what she does is like he's the one that tells her no, and no kid wants the one that tells you no.
Well, it's like he's kind of created a monster in the image of himself too. You know, he's taught her to act like he does, and I think he would probably kill someone like Lestat if he had
and
to
she's
be
like
stuck with him.
70 years old, like technically. So it's like, yeah, you would I don't even like being told what to do. Even when I was younger or at 32, like I couldn't imagine being 70 years old and someone telling me what to do, like mentally, you know, regardless if that's what her flesh looks like. Like she's lived an entire life, longer, just given the era that they were in than the average lifespan. So I'd be like, no, it's not time for bed. You know,
right? Exactly.
Like, I don't have I don't want a bedtime, and that's what she's given is an eternal, you're grounded situation.
I don't want a bedtime. I want
sucks.
boobs.
Yes, exactly. And like, I also think it's interesting how not only is she, you know, fascinated by the female body because she doesn't have it, I think there's an argument to be made that she, you know, is interested in women too. And as a kid, you're not allowed to be sexual. You can't have sexual needs or wants. And then it's like, what if you have that, your only choice to explore that is wrong and disgusting, and the person is like a bad person for that, you know. So it's like you're never in a situation where you could explore these carnal wants that are very, you know, human, even though she isn't. But everyone else gets to fuck, and she can never do that. Like that would to be eternally a virgin without, you know, she's involuntary. She's an incel technically.
She is an incel.
Well, and I think everybody else grows up, and whether or not they physically mature, they move out of their parents' house too. And so
they get taller, they you know, grow hips, their facial structure changes. You become a woman, and I would hate to be a little girl forever. It would be awful.
Well, and treated like a little girl forever too. Like it's time for her to go to college, you know. It's time for her to move out, stretch her wings, start a family of her own, and she can't. She
can't
frozen
even dress
in time
the way she wants.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, Shelby, what do you think? And this is kind of a bonus question, but why do you think she is more mad at Lestat than she is Louis?
I mean, for one, I think it is that Louis is the passive parent. I think she knows that she can almost control Louis because she is older now. She's a grown woman. And Lestat mocks her. He mocks her childlike body. And it's like he delights in how miserable the entire household is at one point. He is the most toxic vampire in the world, and he like delights in their misery sometimes. Like he mocks them. He thinks they're ridiculous because he kind of knows it's them against him. He knows he's, you know, bad cop in this situation. And so when they are miserable, it's kind of like, ha ha ha, it's not so easy, is it, to like do all this? And and I'm with Sammy. I've always thought that Claudia might have, like, I don't know, like at least like lesbian tendencies. Like it seems like she's interested in women, not just because. And I know that the movie is very like explanatory and like she looks at these women because she doesn't have that body. But I think it's also that I think that the whole story says a lot about just the casting off of queer people at this time, and you know, even at the time, honestly, the movie was made because they couldn't come out and say any of these things, you know? And I think that she thinks, like, if we get Lestat out of the way, if we get him just fucking, you know, sleeping with the gators, then Louis and I can, like, go be cool. And also, like, I can probably have a little more freedom because Louis is kind of he's the depressed parent who's a little
a
checked
chance
out.
at happiness, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, and Louis keeps talking about how she has him wrapped around her finger. Like, they acknowledge that.
And she knows that. Again, like, she's a 70-year-old woman. She knows that.
She's
like,
wise beyond her what looks like years.
Yeah, she can at least get him to do whatever she wants so she can live as close as possible to the life that she wants, despite being, stuck in this child's body. And, like the scene where she kisses him, which hasn't Kirsten Dunst said like that was like her first kiss?
Yeah,
she has.
Very I hate it.
It's very weird, but I remember as a 14-year-old being like, she is so lucky.
Me too. I thought the same thing. She's so
and she's
lucky.
talking about how like it's gross and weird because he's like a full man,
Which is so good for her. She had good people around her, thank God.
She did.
Yeah.
Because as a child I was like, oh, I wish.
I know.
Yeah. But and even in that, like, I feel like that was her trying to, like, even though he was weirded out by it, I think she was trying that. Like, maybe this is another way I can have a power play. Like, again, she is very much like Lestat. She's like him.
Yeah,
in
she
so
has
many
his
ways.
tendencies.
Yes.
They're related.
They definitely are.
It's so funny. Like, watching this movie, I'm like, Lestat, you're so fucking over the top. Like, you're so annoying. But because we keep talking about how toxic he is, my brain is like, maybe he's hot.
No, I know.
Maybe
I've always
I have
wanted-
a crush on
When
him.
He's
I was
my
a kid, he
favorite.
was
I
my-
love him. Like,
Lestat,
I think
just like
he's-
the character was my hyper fixation as a child.
Yeah.
Like, when I first started reading these books, I was like, there's a chance he's real. Like, because there was this whole thing, like, Anne
know
Rice
that
did a
feel all
little
too
bit,
well.
not to Stephen King levels, but, Stephen King has a thing where, like, his characters have met him before. And, like, Anne Rice never quite did that in her books, but she has, like, she would talk about Lestat as if he would, like, visit her and tell her these stories. Like, she would talk in
Ooh.
this way. And then it didn't help when I fucking grew up and read the True Blood series. I don't know if you guys have read the books.
I haven't, but I've heard. Yeah.
The books are so much better than the show. I had to fall off the show because I was like, no, this is not even the books get so, you think the fairies are wild? Oh my God, you got to read the books. They're amazing. Anyway, in the books, there's like a whole thing where, like, I think I can't remember which character tells Sookie, like, like vampires talk to humans all the time to get our stories out there. Infamously, Lestat told Anne Rice all this stuff. Like, that's like a whole thing. And
I
like,
love that.
they have a whole section where it's like, Lestat's a real vampire in the real world, and he told Anne Rice all these stories. And like, she has interviews where she's like, Lestat, like, and I speak to each other.
So
And
Christian
the
Slater
interviewer.
is
Yeah.
Anne Rice.
It's Anne Rice. Yes.
yeah. So, and it's like, so again, like, when I read all that, I was just like, oh no, I'm becoming crazy.
Right.
So
That's how it happens, though. They want you to.
I know.
That's how
I
they
know.
get ya.
I've already revealed too much about myself on this show, but just this episode alone.
Just you wait.
It's just us
I
girlfriends.
know,
It's
yeah.
fine.
It's just us.
But yeah,
It's just us plus puss.
Exactly. Puss will never tell. He does not
never
kiss
tell.
and tell.
Never tell.
Doesn't
We're in
kiss and
video
tell.
now too. People can screenshot me being like this and saying crazy
Yeah, oh no.
shit.
I
Like,
talk with my arms or hands. So
Yeah.
I get it.
Well, I just did the soaking thing a whole bunch in the last episode I edited. So, that's part of my legacy now. Rachel, why do you think Claudia kills Lestat?
Ugh. Everything you guys say, and she reminds me a lot of that character in Near Dark, who's like the young boy. Isn't he in River's
yes.
Edge too? But
Yes.
but he's actually like the oldest, right? And so it's just like, don't take that for granted. Like, he's actually older and wiser than all of us, that kind of thing. But just that conflict of being more mature. I also have to wonder. It's like, well, I mean, what about her like prefrontal lobe?
Yeah,
Did
does it
that
develop?
develop?
like physically,
You know, is she-
yeah.
Like, I think she probably is stunted at some level, developmentally, obviously physically, but also mentally at some level. Yet, like, yes, she is decades older, but emotionally, like, what is she
impulsive.
actually capable?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's still very impulsive. And I think, I get it. Like, she's tired of being treated like a child. I agree that Louis is the more nurturing presence, like the more motherly kind of presence that she has in her life. But at some level, he does give her some leniency as far as like her behavior and like has some sympathy for her. Whereas Lestat is still buying her dolls and dressing her. And she's like, oh my God, like the jig is up. Like, I'm not a child. Like, I don't want this fucking doll. Like, it's one thing to dress and like realize like, okay, I have to present this way to the public. Like, that makes sense. But we're in this house here. I'm not a
Yeah.
fucking child. Like, stop treating me this way.
Mhm.
And I think she just loses it and doesn't want to deal with it. I think it's impulsivity and her rage. She talks about like that she's just filled with rage and like over it. So I don't think she thinks through it all the way.
Me neither, Claudia.
Much
I
like
get
her
But
it.
also
papa
that's-
Lestat.
You know,
Yeah.
but that's also like his own fault. Like, he's kind of encouraged her to like trust these tendencies, like give into it, like have fun with this. He's kind of helped cultivate this atmosphere in their household where like killing's no big deal. So
Right.
I mean, what do you want? I'm sorry. Like,
Mhm.
this is sort of the template that you've set for her, and for some reason you thought that the line was drawn at you. And so I don't know. Sorry,
Yeah.
dude. But also, I mean, I do think it's interesting because it's like, no, it wasn't quite that easy, but also how is she supposed to know that? And Louis doesn't either. It's like, well,
Right.
is he dead? I don't know. I
Yeah.
guess so. I guess we're going to find out.
Yeah, it's like he created someone who voted for the Panther who eats faces party. You know, It's
Yeah.
like, oh, I didn't think they would eat my face. You know,
Yeah.
yeah. And as I was writing the synopsis too, I was like, well, that sucks. Like, they executed her for killing a vampire, but she didn't actually kill a vampire because he didn't die.
He didn't die. Yeah.
But he
It's
did,
like the
I mean,
Volturi. You know
it
she
is like
took this. Like, there's no
Oh.
way she didn't.
Oh,
like,
so much.
absolutely.
It's,
Yeah.
it's like a whole panel of vampire lords that are like your government. Yeah. I wonder where you heard that before.
It
We've
was
been
in
watching.
her dream, Sammy. It was in her dream.
Yes.
Totally
sorry.
original. Yes.
Yes.
We've been watching Parks and Rec at home. I've finally gotten my kids into
The
it. and I was
Twilight
watching
one episode
the Twilight
where
episode.
Will Forte
Yeah.
brings the book in. Yeah.
Yes,
for the time
and like
capsule.
handcuffs himself. Yes,
It was
and
a very
then convinces
relatable
Tom
episode
to
for
read
me.
it.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And I was telling Corey, I was like, they are good, but every time anyone says the Volturi, I always hear Tom say, "Sometimes I think you're in the Volturi." And it is, you know, maybe not the best joke, but it works for me because it's good for me. And our next category is also good for me because it is good for her.
Claiming she could take it no more, the young mother released the emergency brake, allowing her car to roll backwards into the nearby lake.
Good for her.
Okay. We're going to talk about Claudia, my favorite. Yes, we know murder is bad, even when you are a delightful little child, Kirsten Dunst, with your blonde ringlets, and you can do no wrong. You should not kill people unless you are hungry and you have to eat. So we're going to talk about it. Okay. So she cuts her hair and it grows right back. I love that moment. And
Me
then she
too.
slices Lestat's face and it immediately grows back
Heals.
to... And then Louis says, a little child she was, but also a fierce killer, now capable of the ruthless pursuit of blood with all of a child's demanding. I think one of my top 10 favorite moments in all of horror is when she sits up with her curly hair and she says, I want some more. It is so chilling and just, she is the perfect person for this role. And it's, I mean, I know she's a little older than in the book, but it's just like,
No, it's still.
she's perfect.
She's 11 during filming, though. Like,
It's
so,
so
that's
good.
incredible.
Incredible.
Yeah. Is this before
Right?
or after Jumanji? Before?
Before, I think.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think so too.
She's
She seems
older?
a little
Yeah.
older in Jumanji, but
She does.
I mean,
Yeah.
she's had the sauce since
Oh,
the
yeah,
get-go.
she's
like
great.
I
And
have,
then-
I love her to death.
and then we'll have Bring It On, another masterpiece
Yes.
too.
Another
So,
masterpiece. Yep.
Yeah. And then Lestat says, I love Lestat for this. Evil is a point of view. God kills indiscriminately, and so shall we. For no creatures under God are as we are, none so like him as ourselves. And I already said when she says, I want some more, but because I just talked about Cocaine Bear on Murder Made Fiction, I remember, Sammy, when you and I talked about how Cocaine Bear kills because she kills. Like, that's what
She's a
bears
bear.
do, you know?
hyped up
like-
on drugs that she didn't like hit up her dealer for that. So-
Exactly. They shit in the woods and they kill people because
Yes.
people get in their way. And I think that is something that we've talked about before. Like, can we call Claudia a villain? So that's my question. Sammy, is Claudia a villain?
I don't think she is at all. I think it was sort of inevitable the way that she ends up. You know, her having the body of a child was never going to not hold her back. And Louis has, you know, the life experience of a fully grown adult, and he could even sense the hostility coming from the coven. But I do think that she was doomed from the beginning. And I think the only person that truly grasped that is Lestat. Like, and I think that's why he's so imperative to her survival. And I think that's also why he takes such an authoritative role with her. He knows what he did and what they did as a couple is against the law, and knows that the moment he changed her, that she's essentially cursed. Like, she is doomed from the start. And I don't think there was ever going to be a way around it. Eventually she was going to have to face the music, so to speak, or the fire of the sun. But I think, her story is so tragic, but it isn't meaningless. It has so, like Shelby was saying, like, it is about her daughter that had passed away from leukemia, and wanted to sort of, like, as a writing exercise, explore. I think from what I read, like, she didn't even realize it at first, like, what she was doing. And then it kind of hit that's kind of how she coped with the death. But yeah, I can't imagine being a teenager stuck for eternity in puberty. Like, that sounds horrible to me. Desperate for community. The only people she has are these two men that argue all of the time. And I think she sort of realizes fairly quickly that she's an outsider. She is the third wheel to her dad's. And I think after years and years of youthful indulgences, she played the assigned role. She lavished with the presents, and now she's done. Like, she's gained the adult intelligence and her sexuality and the capacity for a long-term resentment, which she's obviously showing us, but she can't express those or live those fully because of her child form. And I think that would fuel anyone with rage and frustration. So, and I also think she's definitely a little more hardcore in the books from what I remember. She's like she doesn't have a ton of compassion, but I could be wrong. I don't know, Shelby. Is she like a little, like, I feel like she's not as sweet in the books as she is in the
I feel
movie.
like, I mean, they just have more time to, like, explore her becoming an angry woman instead of.
Yes.
And in the movie, they just, it's a lack of time. I think they did a great job with, like, having to compact her journey. It's just in the books, like, we get to see her grow into being, like, just so fucking done with these fucking dudes, and, like, in the movie it feels like more of a, like, an explosion out of nowhere,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm now remembering the other context that we talked about this. One of a few times is when we talked about Hellbender, and we're talking about the witches, and, like, this is, like, can we consider them, like, she's not a serial killer because she's not human, Rachel, what do you think? Is Claudia a villain?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think, she's an animal of sorts. Like, she's just doing what she's supposed to be doing. I don't think she's killing for fun. We don't really see that so often. I mean, kind of, but at the same time, it's like, okay, can't blame her. Like, with the
she's good at
seamstress,
it,
it's like,
you know?
okay, maybe that lady didn't quite have to die.
Yeah.
But also, like, she's learning. She's learning. She's growing. Not physically, but, like,
We all have to
figuring
start
out this
somewhere.
whole vampire thing. And
It
it's
is
not her
so
fault.
funny when she's like, oops, oh,
Yeah.
sorry, I killed my piano teacher.
couldn't help
You know,
it.
it's such a
Sorry.
cute little montage,
Also, like, I remember one of my piano teachers growing up, and I was like, you know what? Understandable.
I
did
hate
not
I
like
had a
that
violin
lady.
teacher.
One of them.
Yeah, that would have happened too. Definitely.
So, I get it. You have this power, and you're like, you know what? Stop treating me like a kid, and, like, fuck you. You're dead.
Yeah.
So I don't think it is probably reckless. But she's a child, and that's what they get, right? Lestat, you
Right.
should have maybe thought about that. And, he's telling her time and time again, like, stop killing people in the house. Like, you're going to get us caught. And, like, I get that, but I don't know. I don't see her as villainous. I just see her as a kid with a
Sad.
newfound power and energy, right?
Yeah.
So I get it.
Well, and I think, you mentioned Gen V, but I think it's something we see in the boys too. It's like these kids have this power that they don't
They're
understand how
always
to
accidentally
control.
killing people.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah,
Exactly.
figuring it out. They just
and I
have to
just
figure
feel
it
so
out.
bad for them.
Yeah.
Like,
They're killing their own parents,
you
you
didn't
know?
know
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. Yeah. Oops. Yeah. And I mean, I do like the moment where she and Lestat, like, they're talking about how they work together too, and they, like, go through entire families. So it's like, yeah, she is enjoying what she does because she's good at it. And, that doesn't, I don't know. She's villainous, but I don't think she's a villain.
Yes.
You know? Shelby, what do you think? And does it hit a little different? I know you already kind of talked about that, but do you feel like she's a villain in the book too?
No, because, it's so funny. Lestat gave Louis this choice that he didn't have, but she didn't really have a choice, And I feel like, she did. She went from child to woman, and they wanted her to stay the same. And I don't know. I think she's just a product of inevitability. Like, she's in this weird, I guess, like, it's weird to say abusive but it's more like because she's being kept in this like cage. And again, going back to the scene where like Lestat mocks her instead of being like, I am so sorry you're like stuck like this, but like, here's the reality of it. Like, we can kill you, or like you just gotta like fucking buck up. Instead, he just like makes fun of her and it's like, yeah, you're never gonna be a woman, you're never gonna have breasts, like, get over it. Like, and also it did crack me up though when he thought it was gross that she had the dead body like hiding in their dolls, just because I don't know, it was just a simple touch of him being like, this is also gross. Like,
this is
ew.
icky.
Yeah,
you pollute your bed, he says.
You're gonna get us caught, but also ew. Like,
because dead bodies are disgusting to them. Like, it's not, once it's dead, it's nothing. It's just a rotting corpse.
It's like rotten food. It's
Yeah.
like the
And
5-second rule.
Excellent makeup job. The corpse looked so good. It wasn't like overdone. Like, I don't know. There was something about seeing her in that state was just like, oh, that is like, I could almost like smell it. It's like just starting to smell kind of thing. Like, I don't know. And so, yeah, I don't think she is. I forgot who said it. Like, she's done, I think Jen, you said it, like, she's done villainous things. But I don't think any of this is her fault. Like, she doesn't know. She doesn't know any better. Comparing it to The Boys is such a good, like, I was like, oh my God, it is like The Boys. Like, when they talk about, like, oh, I accidentally killed my whole family when I was 2 because I can turn into the sun or whatever, like, I can't even think of a specific boy that, like.
No, I mean, I think that works.
Yeah.
But at least she has parents that, like, know the situation. Like, Mike and I just watched Brightburn, and I had never seen it.
Oh, yeah, Brightburn's a good example of that, too.
Yeah, and, like, the parents have no, like, they have no concept of understanding what their son is going through, at least in this situation. And, like, he's obviously, I just wanted to fucking kill him by the end.
Yeah, he's kind of a little dick.
It's like a fucking. It's like better watch out type of.
I
like,
wanted
you
to kill
just
him
and like
too.
the Babadook. Like, I was just like, you're. I hate you.
Yes.
And like, and I don't like when I hate little kids like that. But man, do some of them get me? And he was one of them. But like, it's also like hard for. I can sympathize with that because it's like no one around him knows what's going on. Like, it's a mystery for everybody. Whereas here with Claudia, it's like she has at least. They might not be the greatest support system, but like what she's going through isn't foreign to the people in her life, aside from the fact that she's a woman and that, or, a girl, and that she never got to grow up. But at least like this anger and hunger and monstrosity of it all is like, it's not like she's a vampire and no one around her is a vampire,
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's the thing. They're villain. Like, if she's a villain, then they
are
villains.
too. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
yes.
And I feel like a lot of what she does that could appear villainous is just rebelling. She's like, I don't want to live in my parents' house anymore.
Well,
so
that's the
I'm
thing.
gonna kill you.
There are steps they could take. Like, but they're insistent on living among society. Like, why not go live in the sticks somewhere and like be like, okay, until you learn your lesson, you're gonna feed on, gators. Go get the gators, girl.
Yes.
Until you can
know
learn
what
to
they
behave.
should do? You know what would work is if they move to rural Washington and they enroll her in a high school. And then she could fall in love.
I was like, for some reason, I was thinking Washington, D.C., and I was like, are we going to just kill all of the
and they can adopt a bunch of send her out.
Yeah,
another kind of fan
vampire
fiction.
children. And for some reason,
Create their own village of the damned.
Right?
Situation.
Dude, we are going to talk ourselves into covering Twilight.
Is
before
Louis
you know
or
it.
Lestat
I
Carlisle?
cannot wait.
Who is Carlisle and who's Carlisle in this situation?
Louis is Carlisle because Carlisle is
He would be a doctor.
But he's
He'd wanna
Edward.
help
Like, it's
people.
very Edward-esque.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh no. I have a
And I
girl
feel
that I
like
want to turn.
I can't be with you, but I'm gonna be with you. But I can't be with you.
I can't live without you. But
I'm gonna kill myself. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go kill myself. Like,
But I'm not going to do it. I'm going to make the Volturi do it. And I think that Emmett and Jasper are like like Lestat. Lestat is like a mix of Emmett and Jasper, but
Yeah, I
like
could
with
see
more
that.
charisma.
Yeah.
I had a big crush on Jasper. I don't
That
know
is so strange to me because
what
you've
it
told me that
is.
before, and that is and Emmett too. I mean, like I guess I would probably pick Jasper over Emmett because I do.
Oh
not
yeah,
like
I'm not
meatheads.
super
I'm
into
not
Emmett.
a meathead
He's
gal.
Not a meathead. Yeah.
But
I don't know what it is about Jasper.
It was just Edward for me. It was Edward all of the
Well,
time.
yes, I mean Edward. I wouldn't pick Jasper over Edward,
but
I would
Carlisle
pick.
I get too. And also, like, there's a scene in New Moon where like Carlisle and Bella have like a moment in the kitchen, and I remember being like, "Are you guys gonna kiss? Like, what's going on here?" Yeah. So, but I would. I'd get it.
Well, we'll talk about it because yes, we are going to cover. We got to cover them all because I just have so many thoughts and you know. And Sammy, you've never seen any of the Twilight movies, right?
I'm actually
So
really unfamiliar with the franchise as a whole. So it'll be a first time watch. I can't wait when you're like, Sammy, what's your story with Twilight?
Oh, I know.
Sammy just like gets out her slam book from like.
We could all just kind of walk away
9/11,
and like
we wouldn't
go do our
have Twilight.
dishes and like yeah.
The floor is yours.
Yeah, no, yes, pulls out her cardboard cutout of Edward because I know you had a life size one, right?
I'll just start like folding laundry, get some stuff done while we
the stage. It'll be my stage for sure.
Maybe we'll do that for your birthday.
Please, a month. I'll reread them too. I don't care.
Oh, I will too. It'll
I'll
take me
do
a
it.
week. You
Don't
know,
tempt me with a good time, man.
Exactly.
I'll read them. I swear.
I swear.
I'll read them.
I
I swear I will.
Hand to God, I will reread them.
Well, okay, let's talk about these vampires. Okay. In the context of this world, Lestat says, I'm going to give you the choice I never had. And Louis says, I walked all night. I walked as I had walked years before. My mind swam with guilt at the thought of killing. And Armand says, the world changes, we do not. There lies the irony that finally kills us. And then Lestat says, we are predators whose all-seeing eyes were meant to give them detachment. And then I go back to this, evil is a point of view. It's almost like the person who wrote the script in this story is a really fucking good writer. Like there's just so much truth in all of this, but it's also like really conflicting. Like it's such a deep, complex
she
story,
understood
and I love
like
it.
the human condition so well. Like the way like going
right.
through
I think because of what she went through. I mean, imagine losing a child that young, and you know, there's a certain part of yourself that like I would assume dies after that.
Oh yeah.
So,
and she lost
like
her
any
husband.
big loss.
Yeah.
Too. Yeah.
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 You just
She
need to
lost her
live your life. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
And her husband, Lestat is modeled after her husband. Like Lestat
Really?
physically is supposed to look like her husband Stan. Yeah. And like
let me see how close that is.
He's like,
not in the way that I picture Lestat, not super close. My Lestat is a little hotter. No offense, R.I.P. Stan Rice.
Very
but,
70s, feathered hair. I mean, honestly, like young him, I see. I actually I can see it.
And his
as he got
poetry, so
older, maybe not.
all of her
but-
books contain his poetry in the beginnings of the chapters as well. So like
that's
she
sweet.
feels a lot of feelings for the people she loves, and I feel like it translates very well in her characters, essentially.
And I feel like that is part of what horror does so well. It's in looking at inhuman creatures that we can really kind of identify humanity, you know? And I think the line between being mortal and immortal in this story is what it's all about, you know? Like who are we if we're not human anymore? So, Rachel, is vampirism, is it a blessing or a curse? I know we've all said we would, hands down, let Lestat bite us. But, I mean, would we really? And is it good or bad, you know?
You know, I think it is what you make it, but I can also, you know, like when Armand says, yeah, the world changes, we do not, that's what finally kills us, because especially for somebody like him, and, you know, what I've been thinking a lot about lately is just, you have to imagine, like, the more you see of the world, the longer you're around to see things like repeat itself and like more than one lifetime, right? And you're just seeing kind of these cycles reperpetrate themselves, and you sort of just see humanity for what it is. You can understand why Lestat doesn't give two shits about killing people, because he's like, you know what? Like they're all blurring together in some, way. Like it doesn't really matter. People are shitty all the time. It doesn't matter what decade, what century you are. Like this is all just, not pointless, but you can just recognize those patterns in some ways. And I think it's one of those things where it's like the more you look at humanity, it's just kind of gross.
Yeah.
And so you like the guilt sort of kind of goes away, but at the same time, like that's really depressing, right?
Yeah.
And
I
just
mean,
like,
for
I
sure.
don't know. I can just see it being like,
I'm
what it-
32 and I feel that way.
No,
Imagine
exactly,
at 200. Yeah.
yeah, and seeing like, oh, this reminds me of what happened 100 years ago, and here we are again. And I think too that's why maybe Lestat likes being like eating the society people, because it's like, oh, they have no fucking idea, right?
Yeah.
They think all this is like, all this stuff matters. They think they're so important. They're fucking not. And I'm going to take that away from them and show them how unimportant they actually are. Like they think they have all this power, but they actually don't. It's just a facade kind of thing. And so I think that kind of is what thrills him too. Like, ooh, like you think you're better than all of this? Well, no, you're just going to get eaten, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so I think it could be both. I think it is what you make it. Also to be like, we see Louis, the sunset and like, or the sunrise, and just like, yeah, you don't get to enjoy certain things too, which like that I think is a curse. Like you can only really exist and only explore these certain things. And like, yeah, the idea of like, I forgot what the ocean actually looks like during the day because it just looks black. I don't get to see it when it's blue. And so having those blinders on to your experience, I think would be a curse.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, go watch Only Lovers Left Alive. And it's like, you could also be having a lot of fun, or What We Do in the Shadows, right? It's like, you could
Oh, yeah.
go to the club, the vampire club.
And now we are wizards.
They should be at the club.
Yeah.
I didn't even
like,
think about
reinvent-
blue, because like blue's my favorite color, and it doesn't exist in nature without like the sun and light like reflecting off of it. So it's like you really wouldn't see like the blue sky or the blue water or anything like that ever again. And like even paint or like blue things in darkness don't look the same as they do in the light. But that's something I'd be willing to sacrifice, I think.
But that's life, right?
We have computers
Exactly.
now and screens.
Like you can't have one without the other kind of thing. And I think in that way, it's a good metaphor. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just like how you look at life. Like it can be a blessing. It can be a curse. Sometimes it's one, sometimes it's the other. It's just like where you are at that moment.
Yes.
And it's okay to feel like it's a curse one minute and then like be open to the idea that it could be a blessing in others.
Isn't
And
that
so,
life?
Exactly.
Like I feel that way about
Yeah.
life. So
It's just on
why
a
should
much-
vampirism be any
a
different?
grander scale, but
Yeah.
just like unlike vampires, right? Like what Armand says, the world changes. We do not, in life, you can change in
Yeah.
certain ways. So
Yeah.
at least we have that going for us, I guess.
Yeah.
And
You're
that's
right.
nice.
Trying to look a little
You're
optimistic. Here. We can
right.
dye our hair and cut it if we want to. They can't do that.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, the scene where he watches Superman, that has stuck with me since the
It's
first time I
beautiful.
watched
I
this.
love
It
the
really
montage. I
is.
think it's gorgeous. Yeah.
I do too. And I thought about that. Like I saw My Last Sunrise, and then he finally gets to see it through the movies. And Rachel, when we covered Superman on Girls on the Boys, I feel like we keep talking about Girls on the Boys stuff in this episode for some reason. Who
Supernatural
knew?
A lot of
stuff.
men in this movie, so makes
That's
sense.
true. That's true. Yeah. Yeah, that is something that I thought about. Like, would I trade that? And because I've recently watched Jacob's Ladder also, which I'm not going to spoil.
I've never seen it, so
Oh my God, it's so
Earmuffs.
good. One of my favorites. But it's just this idea of like, what do we lose when we die? And what do we gain,
Yeah.
and do you want to actually live forever, or will that slowly become a living hell? And I think that's what we see them wrestle with, because they are immortal, but they can die too. So
Yeah.
like you can end this if you want to. Sammy, what do you think? Is this a blessing or a curse?
I'd always like, for me, it's like I want to know what happens, like I want to know what happens on the next season premiere of The World. Like, so it's like, even as a kid, when I like had to grapple with death at a young age, like it wasn't so much like the act of dying as much as it was just like what happened? Like,
FOMO, man.
what movies are gonna come out? What books am I gonna
Right.
miss? Are they
Yeah.
finally gonna adapt something that I've been wanting to get adapted? Like,
Right.
what is
you would
the
have
new?
missed the David Corn sweat Superman.
What's the new memes?
Yeah.
What memes are people laughing at? Like, that's like how I feel. And then there are days, where I read the news and I do like I could go the rest of my life without, knowing what happens next. But I do think Rachel, I love what you've said about this. Like, it really gives me a new perspective on how I look at it, because now I'm like, when I answer so excitedly that I would get turned into a vampire, I have to like actually think about it for a second. But I do think that in the context of this film, it's supposed to be a curse, or this story. I mean, the director, like, not that it matters because you didn't read the book, but stated that the film is a parable about dwelling in guilt. Louis is not just a monster, but a tortured soul reflecting a deeply ingrained, almost gothic sensibility of sin and redemption. And I think despite these beautiful visuals that we've talked about, the film is really hammering down that vampirism, or vampirism. I'm not sure the exact
You
enunciation
just have to
of
say
that.
it fancy.
Yes,
then,
and with
know.
oomph.
Yeah.
But I think they're trying to show us that yes, it's a pretty cursed existence. It's miserable. It's not sexy, and the intimacy that's shown to us between the vampires is fairly toxic and claustrophobic feeling. So,
Yeah.
context of this world, a curse. To me, I don't know. Depends.
Yeah.
I want to watch
Really
all
depends.
the movies.
Yes,
I have that
want to read
now.
all the
Yes,
books. I want
I think
infinite
so.
time
Anxiety.
to read everything,
Yes.
listen to every album, experience every place. So it's like I understand wanting that.
Yeah.
But Jen, you're right. Like, they can die, so it's not like I couldn't be like, all right, now it's time to kick the old coffin.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess maybe I would. I don't know. Yes, I would. I know I would.
Yeah.
Who am I kidding?
Well, it's the temptations. Like, how am I going to say no to this?
Yeah.
You know?
Ugh.
Yeah. Shelby, what do you think? Blessing or curse?
Okay, so more before we leave, some more book nerd lore. So Armand
Book
is one
nerd
of the
lore is my
oldest
favorite.
vampires. He's like several millennia old, and
Jeez.
he's so she wrote. I think that line is like straight from the book, actually. And in the book, we have a little more of the actually not in this first book, but in fact, by the way, if you guys decide to read the books ever, Vampire Armand's book is like one of the best because he is so old. And I remember just being like,
That's
like,
just
it's
so
just-
interesting.
it's
to
like
me. I
it's
love
ancient.
It.
He's ancient,
Yeah.
and so like he has this perspective that's so interesting through all of this because to him, like Lestat and Louis are like babies. Like this is really nothing to him. Like nothing changes. I mean, going to like Queen of the Damned, he is the keeper of the Queen of the Damned, and she is the
Oh.
original vampire. And yeah,
Cool.
and he keeps her. It's statue. It is her, but it's her statue. She looks like a statue because she's old. It's a whole thing. Anyway, again,
She's
they're like,
frozen.
can you kick her back off the show? Actually, can we get a different?
No, I love this. You're gonna make me like pull out my Kindle
Okay.
again and get
It
this
is,
down.
I
like,
was about to start downloading
Yeah.
on Libby. Yeah.
Seriously, like, so yeah, because Armand is like thousands of years old, and I think the perspective from him is like saying the world changes, we do not. It's so interesting because it is kind of like he's also a little bit of a Louis figure where he's not boring like Louis, but he's also kind of like nihilistic in that like he's
Yeah.
seen so much death. He knows like it's kind of just luck that he's survived this long, and it's like, but he's just kind of still trucking, and it's like, I don't know, man. We're finally like we're gonna die too. Death is inevitable.
Yeah.
It's coming for us as well. We are not actually immortal. We just like live a lot longer than they do, and like, but like, and then I think that's why he creates this whole weird world of rules, and that's why Lestat is so against the rules, and it's like just different. I mean, it really is the way we all try to figure out society on our own, like.
We would need
Rules.
structure. You need government. You need rules. They can't just be a free for all.
And then you have
also,
like, you know,
when that comet's coming eventually, or that solar flare,
Exactly.
they'll all
Yeah.
die anyways. So
exactly. And so, and Lestat comes in with this like, but we are gods. Like Lestat is like, we're gods. Why would we need rules? Like, and Louis is not quite like that, but it's also like they're just confused by these rules. And I think it's because Armand does see this all as a curse. I mean, spoilers, it is a curse. Like, it is a curse. Like, this is like, he knows the origins of all of this, and it is a curse. Like, it actually is. And so it's like, we aren't gods. We should actually be like feel really like not shitty, but like
We're
there's
damned.
a more solemnity about our situation, than
Yeah.
just like living willy-nilly making kids into vampires. Like this is serious. And it's so funny because through the whole movie you're like we talked about Lestat's like kind of the serious one. He's the one who's taking this seriously about Claudia and setting rules. And then we meet Armand and it's like, oh dang, no, this is a real rule sheriff in town. Like holy shit. And so anyway, I think it's kind of what everybody's already said. It is what you make of it. Like I wouldn't be a Louis because I'm a doer. I wouldn't just sit in my plantation for the rest of time being like, I don't know, it's my grandpa's ghost, whatever. I don't know if I would be Lestat and like awakening old gods and meeting the devil. And like at one point he meets like this god that's like gold bones. It's a whole thing. There's so many adventures he goes on.
This is so cool. Yeah.
You're selling all these books to me.
The
Like,
fact that Louis, this is something I don't like about Louis. Number one, he owns a plantation. Not a great look.
yes.
No.
Number two, the fact that he's like, okay, you're all free. And then he burns down this huge mansion. And it's like, why didn't you just let them live
Live
there?
there.
You're like, you know what? I'm leaving.
There's a
I'm
housing
peacing out.
crisis, Louis.
I have
Yes.
this giant, nice mansion. You're all free. I'm leaving. But he's like, you're
Conspicuous
free now. I'm burning.
consumption.
I do love I can't
Exactly.
remember. I'm confused because we've talked so much about the books. In the movie they make it pretty clear like the enslaved on the plantation like knows he's like evil now, right? Like
Oh, yeah.
They know.
Sandwich
Or they know that
figure.
he's a
Definitely
vampire.
knows. Like,
yeah,
they-
they're like, we're
before
dining
she's
on our
big.
empty plates.
Yeah.
And the
That's what,
chickens
right. Okay, yeah.
suddenly
Because in
don't
the
have
book it's like
blood
very
anymore.
hammered in. Like they're like, this isn't cool. Like no. I mean their whole
You have bad
situation
vibes.
isn't fucking cool, but
Right.
it's like, oh great, and now we get to
Right,
deal with
yeah.
a vampire lives here.
Slavery
Cool.
and
like,
you're a
we have enough
vampire.
to deal with.
Awesome.
Exactly.
Yeah, and they
Yeah.
move this guy in. Like, who is this guy? Like, I don't know. And so,
Yeah.
like, I would say it's a curse. But that being said, I wouldn't say no. I have too much, like,
Yeah.
again, FOMO. I need to know.
Yeah.
I need to know. If it's bad, if I don't like it, then, like, I'll walk out into the sun
Die.
or whatever.
Cool.
Yeah.
Exactly. You do have like a bit
I
of
have
choice.
options.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
think
30
I could
days of
fix
night yourself.
vampirism.
Josh
Yes,
Hartnett.
Yes,
okay, we'll
exactly.
see Josh Hartnett and Alexander Skarsgård. So of course I got to wait for them.
Oh, and Midnight Mass at the end of Midnight Mass.
Oh yes, yeah. Oh man, again another connection to Jim V. Also Hamish Linklater too.
Oh.
It also reminds me, speaking of problematic Black characters and stories, it reminds me of The Green Mile too, because
a magical
a
character.
magical Negro character, yeah, and not in that way, but it just in this idea of outliving everyone you love, and I think that is such a big part of this story, especially Claudia's inclusion in it, because it is grief, and we have Madeline. We haven't talked too much about Madeline, but she wants a child that can't die because she lost her child, and I think
She lives
Ye-
longer in the book too. Like
Does
you get
she?
more time with her.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
like in the movie.
It's
It's
like
like she just got here
instant.
and then she's
Yeah,
dead
and
and
dies.
It's like, hi, let's
like,
go. They're like,
well,
and you're dead.
that was not even worth it. Yeah, it's like worst possible scenario.
Right.
Yes. Instantaneous death. Like
I'm
right?
like
She
too
probably would have
tired.
lived.
I don't know what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's just this, and again, because I've been thinking about Jacob's Ladder, it's this idea of like death does not have to be bad, but what is bad is that you can't accept it and you stay
Yes.
stuck. And I mean, I say that. I've said lots of times, like, the happy endings aren't real because everything ends and everyone dies. But then when it's your actual life, when it's your child, when it's somebody you love, it's your life ending, it feels devastating. And you're like, no. But wait, this is true for me too.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what this movie is really exploring. And that's why I think, like, I don't know, it would be really hard. It would be a hard decision because you're going to watch everybody you love die. And that's why I think part of why they stay in this little insular group and why all the vampires are in this clan, because then they don't have to deal with that. They don't have to fall in love with people that are ultimately going to leave them. And so I do not think that this is good for her heart. There's part of me that wants to kind of twist it around and be like, well, Claudia has this realization, but she doesn't. She has, like, it's not her fault. She does not have any choice in this. And she has some fun killing for a while. And she does really, I think, love her fathers, but she never gets to be the child that she could have been. And I think even dying before Louis probably would have been better than what she
Yeah.
ultimately got.
Yeah.
So, Sammy, good for her horror?
No, I absolutely agree with you. As much as I love her, her story just doesn't embody the sentiment. She's 70 years old in a child's body and
Yeah.
gets treated like a child or a monster by depending on who, is in the line of fire there, which prevents her from having any normal relationships, any autonomy over herself, or any participation in society. It also makes her like this kind of grotesque curiosity, you know what I mean? Like, kind of like a sideshow character, like, oh, like the child vampire, because even in, not to go back to Twilight, but like they have like a name for the kids.
Oh, yeah, the kids. Yeah.
Yeah, and they like are like weird little like experiments kind of, and they immediately kill them. Yeah, that doesn't, and then she's a threat to humans. So she's a curiosity to these vampires and a threat to humans. She doesn't win in any scenario, and that just doesn't feel very good for her horror for me.
Yeah. Shelby, what do you think?
No, it's not. I don't even know if it's good for anybody horror.
No, it's
Like,
not.
And so I don't even have much else to say about it other than see examples A through Z that I spouted off through this whole
Yeah.
episode. But yeah, I don't think so. No.
Yeah. Rachel, are we unanimous?
Oh yeah, we're unanimous. I think
Yeah.
that's safe to say. And
Council has spoken.
the council
Yes.
has spoken. The Valkyrie has spoken.
We
Yeah,
yeah,
I-
like one of those things as a judge.
Gavel.
There you
Yeah.
go. I'll
Yeah.
get there one day.
Like there's a futility to her story any way you look at it. Either she's dying
Yeah.
of the plague in this, just really sad state, or she's dying because she's food for a vampire, or now she's trapped in a child's body forever.
Yeah.
And I think, listen, we haven't said it the entire podcast, but if we're looking at this through the lens of like the patriarchy, right? She's got like these two men in this, that she's being raised by and in this system, right? Like the system has failed her at every level. It would have
Yeah.
failed her as a child in this situation. It would have failed her if she died there. And now it's failed her again because she's not allowed. She's in this like stunted state for all eternity. Like she's not allowed these privileges. She's not allowed to grow. She's not allowed to do. She's always looked at, she's infantilized, like you mentioned earlier, Sammy. Like this, she's not allowed to do all these things. She can't do this thing. And we see her just lose her mind over it because she's like, I'm so much more. I'm capable of so much more. Like, let me in. They're like, nope, you can't do that. You've got all these rules. Like, you're not allowed to do this. You're not allowed to do that.
Yeah.
And even though she's 70 years old or whatever, Lestat's still like bringing her dolls and treating her like a child, and she's not.
Yeah.
And so I think she's looked at, he sees her, the world sees her as one certain thing, and she's not.
Yeah.
Maybe she was at one point, but she's not anymore. But
Mhm.
that nobody else can see her like that. I think Louis does a little bit, and towards the end. But unfortunately, it's it's too little, too late. And so in that way, I don't think it's good for her because she never actually reaches her own potential. She never ends up like that kid in Near Dark that I can't remember his name. Actually, I think
Yeah,
he
it's like
dies in that
Gus or
movie as
something?
well. So I don't think he has a great fate in that
Mm.
movie either. But at least he had the respect of those around him who were like, don't be fooled by the way his appearance. Like he is actually an old man. So
Yeah.
it's awkward, but like, don't look at him that way. And unfortunately, she didn't have that same thing. But I do love her tantrum.
Yes.
I do love that she was able to speak her mind and she stood up for herself and she fought back. Might have backfired on her, but I do like that moment. But overall, no, not
Yeah.
good for her.
I would die for that tantrum. Especially her scream. It's just such
It's so authentic.
Exactly.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. It's like in Black Phone 2, we were talking about how she's crying. Gwen is crying, and it's the same kind of energy. This is a child throwing a tantrum, and I fucking love it.
And it feels like she has that. Like Kirsten in that, like she's pulling that from somewhere real. And I love that.
Oh, yeah. She's like, you clean it up. I love it. Yeah, I would die for that. But would we die for this movie? Let's find out in our next category, Die For Me.
Look at her. I would die for her. I would kill for her. Either way, what bliss.
So, yes, I would absolutely die for this movie. I don't think I would have the first time I watched it. But I think over the years and really kind of digging into Claudia's character, I think that is what really won me over and allowed me to kind of access the story, because before I just don't think I was on its wavelength. And then once I started viewing it through Claudia's lens, or really viewing her as the main character, and that's something I was going to say about the good for her-ness of it is it's not really about Claudia. Like, this is not really her story. You have to actively look at her as the main character, because that's not what it's about. And that's not a knock on it, because I think it's doing a lot of other really interesting things. But as far as she is concerned, she almost feels like an object in a lot of ways for them, or a symbol or an archetype,
or like a
more than an
Pomeranian. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like,
Like,
those ugly
she's
white
like
dogs that they kill.
well, they look at her as like a pet, and then
Yeah.
she is more than that, but she's trapped, so she can't be more. And I just think I'm gonna die for any kind of exploration of that, because I think that's something that a lot of us can relate to, even if we're not a child vampire. It's like, we have been created to be a very specific thing, and you won't let me change, and that eventually kills you, you know? And I just think it's such a beautiful movie. It's so dense and dark and like complex, and like it doesn't take an easy way out, even though, it does compared to the book, but it's just like the story is really doing some things here. It's not just like vampires are hot and fun. And there's nothing wrong with that, because I love a hot, fun vampire. But this story is more. So yes, I'm gonna die for it. I would undie and maybe become a vampire for it. Sammy, what about you? Are you going to die for Interview with a Vampire?
I would, surprising no one. I'd die for Claudia. I'd burn up right up there with her, or down there with her. I truly could not fathom being in a child's body forever. I think that is a fate worse than death. And I think this film, and just, I've obviously read the first book, and so the narrative that she makes as a whole is one of my favorite looks at vampires as a concept. It certainly feels the most realistic and grounded, despite the subject matter. And it has a special place in my heart. Like, my childhood, I don't think I would have ever gotten into vampires without it. Like, it is my first vampire thing. And I'm really glad that we were able to cover it this week. And I had no idea, Shelby. I learned so much about you this week. So
I know.
that is incredible. I can't wait to chat about it all weekend. And I did see that evidently there is more Claudia content. In 2012, there was a graphic novel called Interview with the Vampire, Claudia's Story, which was published from her point of view. So if you listeners want more Claudia, there's a graphic novel for you out there.
Ooh, love that. And Rachel, are you going to die for Interview with a Vampire?
Oh, totally. This movie's gorgeous. As you know, I have some issues with Brad Pitt's performance, but overall, like, I love this movie. I think it's beautiful. The costuming, the music, I like existing in this world. And just the fact that we do get, I know Brad Pitt wasn't at like the peak of his celebrity at this time, but he was getting there. And to see like him and Tom Cruise going back and forth with each other and talking about like who kisses deeper, and it's like, whoo, girl.
It's
like,
exciting.
okay.
That's why they talk
Rambo's
about
shaking
it
a little bit right
I know,
now.
Rambo's really exciting too.
He's like,
excited.
oh, I'm feeling it
What is
too.
that? It's the Midnight Club. I remember Zach Guilford's character talking about this, because he's a queer character in there, and he's like, it's so like it's Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise, and they're married but they're not, and it's so
Yeah, and it is very mainstream. And I do think that, like, thinking about the 90s, like you talked about the book being written in the 70s. And I think that, they didn't make the movie for a long time just because they're like, okay, we're over vampires. But then bringing it back at this time in this way, it really vampires live forever, right?
Yep,
like, this is a
revitalized
genre
the genre for
that's
sure.
all going to come together. And so I think it's also like such an important movie at this time to kind of be like, all right, it's time again. We're back with vampires. And like, what better way? Like, this was such a great mainstream way. This is a movie that it's like, I use my mom as a template because she has like a very low tolerance for horror stuff. But this is something she would probably watch and be like, oh, yeah, that was great. That kind of thing. Like, it's tame enough.
Palatable. For
Yes, it's
audiences,
very
for
palatable, but it also satisfies me as a horror fan as well. And so, and yeah, an incredible Kirsten Dunst performance. Like,
Oh, yeah.
are you kidding me? What a
tier.
treasure. Even this very year of 2026, what we've seen from her in the last few weeks has also been like, she's just so incredible in this movie as Claudia. And this performance is so good. So I would die for her. Sadly, I would die for her feudal fate or doomed fate. But I also love it at the same time. And I think this movie is perfect in all its imperfections.
Yeah. Shelby, take us home. Are you going to die for Interview with a Vampire?
I've been dying for this movie over
Yeah,
and over
it seems
again.
like
For
it.
decades, in every form. It's so funny that I have not watched the show, but I feel like I think it's because I'm a little bit of a purist, I gotta say, and
Yeah.
I've been mourning her
Yeah.
death for years now. But yes, I would die for this movie. It's beautiful. And just from a historical perspective, I love this is one thing I didn't get to touch on when they show
Weird.
the
She
old-
died on my birthday. Sorry, Shelby. Sorry, that's weird.
Shut up.
Yeah, and like I know you said like
Dude.
that's a weird.
I told you we're cosmically connected. It's weird. Like
that is odd. Like I just googled it because you were like, oh, I've been mourning her death. So I was like, I wonder when she died, and I typed it in. It's December 11th, 2021. That was my birthday. Weird.
That's
You were
so
born on
weird.
Claudia's birthday. I was born on her death day. So weird.
and you got married on my birthday. Like,
yeah, it's all all connected.
Connected. It's
Cause
all
a wheel,
connected.
man.
Cause a wheel.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just gonna say the old timey nature of the movie. I love that they actually make everything look old and dusty and like not. I feel like the 90s was a time when we were doing a little too much of like clean period pieces, and this
Yeah.
was like no, it was dusty and gross, and I've always loved that about the
Exactly.
movie. So yes, if it wasn't clear by now, yes, I would die for this movie.
And on that note, let's wrap up with what's coming next.
Unlock the next configuration. And then the last. No. I've done enough. Enough is a myth.
If you want to follow the show, you can do that on Twitter at The Lady K Pod and on Instagram at The Lady Killers Pod. You can also find us on YouTube. Woo! We have a new YouTube channel. Rachel, how do we find the YouTube channel?
Yeah.
Oh, it's just that you can type in Lady Killers Pod.
Oh,
Or it's just
TTP
Lady Killers Pod. Yes.
Slash.
HTTPS.
Ye olde internet.com.
Yeah,
.org.
yeah.
Hey.
But yeah,
Make
same
sure
thing.
your
just
mom doesn't want
at
to use
Lady
the
Killers Pod.
phone, and
Yes. That's the dial-up connection. So check us out there. And this is now our third video episode, but in the Pod Time Continuum, our first video episode dropped on the day we're recording this. We've gotten so much amazing feedback for our new art and just this new format. So thank you so much. It really means a lot to us. It was a little nervous to put your face in the world, and staring at my face for 3 hours while I edited this was a whole new
yeah.
experience.
Jen and I
I
had
really
long
listen to my
conversations
voice.
about it.
Okay, I couldn't.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it. I don't want to.
So all that to say, it really means a lot when you reach out and you tell us that you like it. So thank you. You can smash that subscribe button. You can, and I mean it this time. You can also comment below. Like we've been getting a lot of really fun Spotify comments too. So comment there, give us an Apple rate and review. You can find me at Jim Ferratu, mostly on Instagram, but I've been raging a little bit on Blue Sky. So, check me out there.
Haven't we
you
all?
can seriously. I wrote a thing about Claudia at my old column, Fatal Femmes. So check that out if you want to hear more of my thoughts. You can find me co-hosting the Losers Club podcast. You can find me co-hosting Murder Made Fiction. I mentioned Cocaine Bear. We just talked about that. And Grizzly Night, which is another bear attack movie. And then Rachel and I are talking about Gem V and the boys on the Girls on the Boys, because that has come up way more times than I thought it would in an episode about Interview with the Vampire. Yeah. Rachel, where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram at The Vinyl Girl, GRRRL. And on Halloweenies, we're doing all things Hellraiser, just dwelling in the darkness of things, and we're covering all of the omens. So it's kind of been a fun little dual franchise experiment. So, and that the omen stuff is on our Patreon. So if you're interested in that, you can check that out as well. But yeah, a lot of fun. Hellraiser 2 in February. So
That's my
can't
favorite
wait.
of the franchise. I'm
So
excited for you guys.
good.
to
I'm
do it.
hosting that one, and I cannot wait because it's a wild one. Well, they're all wild from here on
Yes.
out, but you know.
Yes.
Well, that's true. Yes. Sammy, where can listeners find you?
You guys can find me at SRK Doll on. Oh God, I just brain farted so bad on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd, as if there are other social media platforms.
On Snapchat.
Yeah, God, could you imagine being in your 30s
Mastodon.
and having a
Mastodon.
Snapchat?
WhatsApp.
I couldn't
What else
do
is
it.
out there?
Sorry to anyone in their 30s that has a Snapchat,
yeah,
but
or
I
Snapchat
mean, maybe if
following.
you're not in a I don't know. I feel like that's a place
I
for
have friends who
cheaters
are-
and
It's for cheaters.
Yeah,
That's
and
all
that's
I think
why.
of is cheaters.
Yes, yeah, like
Hey,
sorry,
we're on
but-
YouTube now, so never say never.
and
okay?
yes,
That's-
exactly. And I think Rachel and I's Rachel's first episode of The Stacks comes out this Friday in the Space Pod Continuum this Friday. So we are talking all of our favorite books and movies and TV shows and stuff like that have come out over on the Losers Club. So make sure to check that out. And that's it from me. And
Shelby, where can listeners find you?
You can find me at Shelby B. Novak on all the socials. I mostly stick around Instagram. You can also find me over on my baby of a show, Scare You to Sleep. Oh, actually, this week, it's already out by the time you hear this, but I did a dark Reddit episode where it's about deathbed confessions. And this episode we're doing Interview the Vampire kind of inspired me because I was thinking about death a lot and what it's like to not live the life you wanted to and maybe realizing at the end you didn't. And boy, oh boy, it gets real dark over there. So check out that dark Reddit it's all real deathbed confessions I found. Obviously real I can't prove they're real, but I don't doubt a lot of them, and some of them are real. Woo, check out those trigger warnings before you listen. And you can find me on the Bloody Disgusting podcast every week with my co-host, Zena Dixon, where we talk about movies and all things bloody and disgusting. So, yeah, check me out there.
And that's it for our episode on Interview with the Vampire. I am driving away, and I hope Lestat does not pop out of my backseat, or do I? Because as we
he knows how to drive, so you should be fine.
He does, and I like to ride. I don't like to drive.
I'm
because
sure
then
you
I
do,
can
Jen.
read my book in a car, or we were talking about hot vampires.
You set me up for that. Come
I know,
on.
I did. That was a little alley oop. We've been podding together for a long time, haven't we?
Women supporting women.
Yeah, it is. That's right. Yes, men becoming wolves too. Sorry. Thank you so much to my esteemed panel listeners. Thank you so much for joining us. I already told you how you can connect with us. We are going to be back next week with The Woman in Black, and I am so excited to talk about her.
movie.
Me
I
too.
do too.
But until then, remember, ladies and ladies, support women's rights, support women's wrongs, and
Remember, the dark gift is different for each of us.
ooh.